on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC reality check. This is the state of wrestling, and that is Jake fucking DeMarco. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, yeah.
Couple days late, but we're here.
Better late than never. And you know what? It only makes us more topical because now we got to see SmackDown and we saw how the last time is now opening rounds transpired, what happened, what went down, and we could make a formulated guess as to who's going to be his final opponent.
Well, we will get to the Time Is Now tournament, and I want to look backwards at some of the better maybe news takeaways from that whole thing. But I do have to start, like, yes, last night we had Full Gear. Tony Khan pretended to be a promoter again, and I watched it on Prime, and the feed sucked, and blah blah blah. But you know what else happened last night?
And yes, there were a lot of issues with Amazon last night. It was.
We had the AAA. I don't know what the fuck it was called. Alancia.
AAA Arriba,
which is basically, and we said this before we came on the air. No English commentary.
No.
The matches were what they were. There were only 4 that were televised. I should say, in one of the dark matches, it was what do you call it? An open challenge by Lince Dorado that was answered by Apollo Crews.
Yeah, which is very cool.
Is back.
Yeah,
very cool to see. And if they've decided to plant him in AAA, that's kind of a cool thing. I've sort of gone with. You and I discussed this on a previous pod of this is WWE's latest acquisition. They want it to be successful. So when they choose wrestlers to go down there, when they choose Corey Graves to be the voice of the whole thing, you figure they're putting their best foot forward. So it's kind of a shot in the arm for whoever gets thrown down there, let alone Dominic Mysterio as champion, who's the most over guy in fucking Mexico right now.
So
CMLL who?
Exactly. Really quick before we stray from this topic, I just wanted to say that we are very lucky as wrestling fans. As much as the TKO, ticket price drama and how we're not thrilled with their handling of things towards fans.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
We look back even to 2019, and the most we had ever gotten to that point was eventually the women's knockout champion would be in the women's rumble. That was the most they worked, associated, or acknowledged any company that wasn't in NXT. It was just Raw, SmackDown, and then they added NXT. Now we see inclusion of Noah, AAA, TNA, and what happens is it's got multiple great trickle down economic effects where it's like the rising tide raises all ships.
What I will say, because this is the argument that's going to come your way when you say something like that, and it's true. I'll say it for Noah. I'll say it for TNA. I'll say it for the Bloodsport stuff and all that. AAA is a little bit different because it's under their own umbrella.
Yes.
So it's now they're pushing it as their brand, but they're still, even more than TNA, they are letting it still be its own thing.
Yes, and they're not even televising all of the content that's down there. They still stick to, if you're not in Mexico to see it, you don't get to see the weekly, you don't get to see the progression of things. It's like us only being able to see the takeovers. And then all the in-between NXT we're missing out on. So hopefully they eventually do get some type of full deal.
Yeah. No, I want to say, because I know you're making a great point, but I know people are going to say, well, of course they're working with AAA. They are AAA now. I'm like,
I'm glad you pointed that out, but still they don't have to. They could own them and then just never acknowledge them. And they've done it before with other things, and we've seen them gobble up. Look at what they did with OVW. And if they want to gobble something up and make it non-existent, they'll put it in the closet like the redheaded stepchild.
I was never... back then when it's like, okay, wrestling is WWE, WWE is wrestling. I was never aware of OVW as a thing until they shut it down and made it into NXT.
Yeah, because OVW was its own thing. You really heard, it still exists today in its own right too.
The only thing you really heard about OVW was like that one graduating class that had like Cena, Batista, Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a hell of a class. Don't get me wrong.
No, it's legendary. But the thing was, like, OVW became their feeder system, but it was running there. They were doing TV and they had commercials and advertisers and sponsors. It was their own thing being supplemented by WWE. And then eventually they got rid of it, gobbled it up, NXT, blah, blah, blah.
It was an early, I guess you would say, like, prototype, no pun intended, for what they're doing with the ID program now. And we've heard all kinds of stuff about how the ID program might have already fallen on its face.
Yeah.
But
And WWE already has a
It's
very bloated and large roster. I mean, it
oh,
is
of course, yeah.
swollen. So being able to send talent elsewhere, utilize
Mm.
them where they're not being iced backstage, just sitting on the bench. It's like, and then people are like, oh, well, they're taking a spot in AAA from somebody or taking a spot for. No,
Well,
because
here's the thing.
they're elevating there, and they wouldn't see that product without them. Maybe, you know.
And that's true, but I don't even think it's a matter of sending. I mean, with the TNA thing, it's a more direct working relationship thing. But I
Yeah.
don't even think you have to like refer to it as a sending thing. Like there was the rumor, it didn't end up happening, but there was the rumor of Wrestle Kingdom and Tanahashi's last match being against Shinsuke Nakamura. If you're Shinsuke Nakamura, you go to Triple H or whoever and say, "Look, you're not using me right now. I'd really like to go and do this." And they say, "Big salute, go ahead." Now, they're not gonna do that because AEW would, cry in their pants,
Yeah.
but it would have been kinda cool to see. It would have been cool to see somebody like, the closest we ever and the only ever Wrestle Kingdom I've ever watched was because Jericho was there and he fought Omega, and this is
Yes.
sort of my introduction to Omega, but, like, I mean, I've seen Tanahashi obviously, like, on AEW shows, but, like, it would be kinda cool to see, like, somebody like a contracted WWE star showing up in New Japan would have been a cool thing. Would
Absolutely.
have been like any of them showing up at AAA, like, before the buyout and everything.
Yeah.
But, we said it before we came on the air, last night's show, Spanish commentary, not a whole lot of stories being told, but the stories that were being told, were pretty basic, and as I say, we're usually or at least myself, I know you guys were doing your own thing over on the Discord, but, me watching with the Wrestling for Life guys and not really listening to the commentary anyway and just watching the show, it was all a setup for
Yeah.
this massive show they have coming in December. Gotta say, 2 days before my birthday, AAA's giving me a present. It's the second last pay-per-view technically of this year because isn't like World's End like in that gap between Christmas and New Year's?
I thought.
Yeah. But Dr. Wagner Jr. taking on Ethan Page. We've seen that being built on both sides. Laredo Kid facing Javon Evans, who won a really awesome triple threat match last night against Octagon and Axiom.
And yes, it's a
Um,
few days after your birthday and the Lord's birthday, December 27th, 2025, in the Now
uh,
Arena in Chicago.
I do think to give it AEW a little bit of credit, like we all know that Christmas time between Christmas and New Year's where nobody knows what day it is. I do think it's kind of cool for them to chuck a show in there um, just as something to sit down and watch and get out of the holiday fog for a second. It used to be in Toronto that we always got a WWE house show between Christmas and New Year's, and that
Yeah,
was a
we used
nice
to get
thing
it
to
here in
break
the
up the
holiday
season there.
tour. Yeah, I missed that.
So now the last two things I want to talk about on this show. One is basically made for me. Let's be real for a second. Now, I don't know whether this is a tag match, a tag title match, a tag title for title match, or a 4-on-4 match because it's listed differently depending on where you look. But it's the Psycho Circus, Pagano, Psycho Clown, Killer Clown, and Bozo the Clown, or whatever the hell,
Yeah,
taking on the Wyatt Six, which was teased like 3 or 4 AAA shows ago.
yeah, it's been a
That's
little
gonna be a
bit.
lot of fun, man. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I
I'm
don't care.
excited.
I'd rather it be the 4-on-4 because the 4-on-4 match they had last night against, I think Mecha Wolf and a couple of other people, and like Don't Call Me Alex Abrahantes out there on
Yeah,
the outside was a lot of fun, and then they got interrupted by Bo Dallas. Now, why I find that funny is because they've also just gotten themselves into this feud with the MFTs. We're not going to touch on SmackDown spoilers here because they taped the Thanksgiving SmackDown ahead of time, letting the wrestlers go home and rest and all that, which is awesome. But so they've got on one side of the coin, they've got a thing with the MFTs. On the other side of the coin, now they have this thing going with the Psycho Circus. That's
yeah.
just going to be fun. Don't try to make me take this one seriously.
No,
Just let it be weirdos versus weirdos. Um, it'll have that Kane versus Undertaker esque element of like this is
the
like
dead, undead, and everyone in between.
yeah,
Yeah,
spooky dookie whatever versus spooky dookie whatever. A lot of people are already out there with the ICP references. Please don't ruin this by bringing ICP back. I'm
yeah,
just saying that personally. I do wonder if the Psycho Circus bring in one of the luchadoras to
mm,
counteract Nikki Cross being there as like a numbers advantage thing.
yeah.
Maybe it. becomes a schmoz, becomes a 5-on-5 because I don't know, Lola Vice comes in. Lola Vice versus Nikki Cross. Why the fuck not? But that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk about that more as we get closer to the day. But the other one, the bigger announcement,
the bigger.
The AEW haters are out there in full force.
It's massive.
But Dominic Mysterio and El Grande Americano, who won their tag match against Dragon Lee and Vikingo after Vikingo turned heel, which made sense because they hate him down there anyway.
Yeah.
Dominic is obviously cutting a promo in Spanish after the match. I'm the fucking best. I'm the king of the luchadors. Da 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 da. They are going to be challenged at this show, which is Guerra de Titan. I think I'm going to butcher that, but basically it's War of the Titans. Dominic Mysterio and El Grande Americano, who are the most over heels in Mexico, are taking on the reunited Lucha Brothers.
Yeah, which is awesome to have them reunite, but people are complaining because it's not.
They are.
It's in AAA. It's not in.
Yep. Here's the thing, though.
How do you feel? I want to know.
This is becoming. Oh, I love it. I love it because if they're gonna do AAA, then put something on there. It's the more general conversation that we have of if there's a good match on Raw, they'll say, why don't you save that for the pay-per-view? And then when you save it for the pay-per-view, then they complain that there's nothing good on Raw. It's that kind of thing.
Exactly.
If you're going to have AAA and you want people to take it seriously, do cool shit on AAA. But also, it's a theme for Dominic Mysterio. If you just watch mainstream WWE Raw and SmackDown, Dominic Mysterio has gotten two things that everybody wanted before the main WWE audience got to see them. Dominic Mysterio at a Madison Square Garden house show was the first opponent for CM Punk when CM Punk returned.
Yeah.
Now, Dominic Mysterio at a AAA show, along with El Grande Americano, obviously, Ludwig Kaiser's doing awesome with that, and they've turned that entire character around. That's an entirely separate conversation. They will be the first ones to see the Lucha Brothers across the ring from them as opponents, obviously, in WWE, period. I think it's kind of cool. They're giving Dominic Mysterio a lot. And they didn't even take the Intercontinental Championship off of him until he was up against John fucking Cena.
Yeah. And you know what the thing is too, is that people forget, like they say, oh, Cena buried him. Cena, no. And Cena, it's his, and I'll touch on this briefly. It's his, we got more later, but yes, it's his retirement year. So no one wants to boo him and all that. But I think the fans, there was a big shift when Vince got first pushed out, then he came back, and then when Triple H finally fully took over, it felt like the fans, and we got the Unreal show to follow, finally knew their role. I've said this a lot. The lights go on, they're booing Cena, Raw's over, they're all on their feet chanting, thank you, Cena. Like the audience knows their role. They know their part.
There's a perfect blend of the two things, like the smart fan and the fan that's there to enjoy the show. And
but what I'm trying to say is like one of the two. I feel like they're less a separate entity, and they're more kind of combined at this point. They may not be like up to date with everything, but a lot of the fans are now smart fans because kayfabe is gone, and in such a way that everyone's in on the wink and the nod. And that's what makes Cena so stand out.
When you're aware of the wink and the nod, you can then choose to get into it or not. Like we always talk about, like how Punk's a great speaker, right? Now we know that he's out there to deliver lines as a character in the current story that he's in. Punk is good in the sense that he can let you put what you know on the shelf and let you live in that. The prime example, and it was, I don't know whether it was KJ or Big Nick, but it was one of the guys over at Wrestling for Life. So shout out to those guys once again. And they were talking during the Vision segment on SmackDown a couple nights ago. And Paul Heyman is the perfect example. They will boo him because that's the right reaction.
Yes.
But they know he's good because they'll still do the spiel, like my name is Paul Heyman and I am the advocate for blah 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 blah. Right?
Exactly. They'll do
the entire spiel with him because they like Paul Heyman, and then they'll go back to booing him because they hate the character Paul Heyman. Like, do you see what I mean? Where it's like the perfect mix. Same thing with Seth Rollins. I mean, Seth Rollins injured. obviously all the weirdos out there, oh, the show is so much better without Seth Rollins. Well, you're a fucking idiot. They'll come out there and they'll do the thing whenever
Yeah.
it is entrance, and then as soon as he grabs the microphone, they'll boo him. Like
They know their role. Like I said, it sounds
yeah.
ridiculous, but they really do now, and that adds to it because not only are they, like I said, in with the wink and the nod, but then they can truly accept and
Participate.
yes, that you nailed it. My tired brain, your excellent words. We're making half a person here, but you get what I'm going for. And one of the things that justifies what WWE is doing is that connection. And with them being able to work with other promotions and have this groundswell, as much as like the TV product is not the best, we're still in a very good time.
I think the TV product is underrated in WWE by people that push AEW as the wrestling company, even though we have to bleed in every match.
Yes. I'm not a hater, but I couldn't remember last
specifically
night.
on SmackDown. Look at what you had. Look at what you had on Friday. Just the Ilya Dragunov Open Challenge and the Fraxium versus DIY.
Yeah.
You watch those two matches on a SmackDown and tell me that there's no good wrestling in WWE, then I know you're just a liar and we don't have to continue the conversation.
The only match that holds up last night to both of those matches from SmackDown is the tag match with FTR. That's truly how I feel.
Fair.
And with the ending, Spaz, this legitimately fucked me up because I was trying to review it last night and I'm like, oh, the spot with the screwdriver and the turnbuckle and they stabbed it through. And I'm like, oh, nope, that was the next match. I forgot. I thought they did the spot. Why? Because everybody's bleeding. Everybody's using chairs and thumbtacks and tables and weapons.
You use a fork and I use a screwdriver.
Exactly.
You use a fork and I
Knife
use
or
a
banana. Which do you choose? Yeah. And instead, we don't get to what we need.
You do the gimmick freaking national title. We're not ripping off the NWA. We're just gonna make a replica of the NWA belt and stick it on Ricochet because he's been a good mouthpiece for us on social media.
Drive everybody bananas.
Banana.
I just.
Oh my god.
You
and the soundboard. Let's go.
I'm telling you. I see it now. I see the way everybody is, as I said, knowing their role, shutting their mouth when needed, and WWE is doing small but important things to differentiate its players between matches.
Well, there's a very, and I tossed this out the other day, and I'm not, okay, before I say this, I'm not even saying this as a bad thing. Competition, if we can all admit that we're competing, I'm okay with all the cheap shots on all sides. If you're taking cheap shots and telling me you're not, different story. If we can all admit that everybody's taking cheap shots on all sides, I'm fine with this.
You good? I'm good. Glorious. Everybody got it.
Jesus Christ. They did. That was really loud. Where was I going with that now? Shit. They did their own like dollar store version of War Games on Wednesday.
Yes.
And then for reasons, they tossed another cage match on the Full Gear show.
The main event. Yes.
Now, not only does that water down the idea in general, but tell me with a straight face that they're not trying to burn fans out on cage matches before War Games next week.
I didn't consider that aspect, but that's very true. And it also shows the scope of their booking. They can't get out of their own way. Like last night, they had to doing more.
Okay, I agree with you. And normally I would say that it is them being a victim of just like, oh, we can't do anything creative, so we'll just repeat everything. I think this is more intentional than that.
Oh, no. I think it's fully intentional. What I'm trying to get at is, and Dave Meltzer called Tony Khan, his beloved, basically said they're like heroin addicts trying to get their next fix. And the problem is, now you got to use more and more because you get tolerant to it. He's like, they're going to get to a point where someone's going to get killed, or that escalation that they bring about. It's not warranted in storyline. So then the match doesn't feel fulfilling either.
But then think about this, Jake. When we first brought this up, and this wasn't even a topic on my list, but obviously we have to talk about it because they're the competitor brand, right?
Yes.
They're going out of their way to be remembered with the forks and the screwdrivers and the barbed wire and this and that and the next thing. And the ironic thing about all that is when we first started talking about this just now, what did you say as the match that stuck out? Tag title match.
Yeah, because all of those blur together.
And why did it stick out?
Yeah. because it was what we wanted, but it was also different because it was
because it
different by
wasn't
being
just like
standard.
because it was the only match on, or it felt like the only match on the card that mattered because the national friggin' whatever call it battle royal didn't matter at
No,
all.
no.
But it's all these people that are like, if I stab myself in the face, will you love me? And it's like it ends up being the match that didn't do that sticks out. So now
Exactly.
you're mutilating yourself for nothing.
Because we had all those matches, all the blood, all the everything. I mean, Briscoe and Fletcher kicked out of so many maneuvers and moments that people probably shouldn't have survived. And then it gets to be
Briscoe and
where,
Fletcher, I'll give a little bit of a pass to. Like there was a couple things that went a little too not too much in the case of oh my god you can't do that, but too much in case of okay we've had enough of it now.
yeah, I
Um,
thought it was way too
but I
egregious. They kill each other and then they're still kicking out of shit from the top
yeah
rope into thumbtacks and brainbuster into like it was insanity.
okay
It takes me
to
out
be
of
f-
it.
but
And
to
then
be
he's gonna
fair
get
though,
kicked out. He won't kick out of a normal J driller next week though, but he can kick out of 15 thumbtack spots. You know, that's
here's the thing though, the finisher killer thing is a valid point, but if I want to stay balanced and stay a little bit fair, every company is killing the finisher right now.
oh, no doubt. But
WWE does it. It's and I mean, like, look at one of the most egregious offenders with that. Like, Cody never wins with a Cody cutter. Cody wins with 3
three,
crossroads in a row.
yes.
So,
And
like,
I feel like they've reined that
I
back
want
a
to.
little bit with him lately too. But
Oh yeah,
part of the thing
but I want
is
to say,
like,
like, as we're digging on this,
yeah.
like, I'm sorry. In general, one of the worst. Oh my god, I can't believe they didn't kick out of the third or fourth finisher. TNA's a pretty heavy offender in that regard as
They
well.
are. And what they did to Santana is a massive little TNA moment that is baffling. They were off for a month after their biggest show. They don't
Yep.
capitalize on the
You're
momentum.
transitioning me right into my next topic, but
I
I'm gonna
figured as
I'm gonna
much,
take
but
I'm gonna take the other side of this topic, but go ahead.
yeah, you know, we get a month break from them, no follow up to the biggest show of their lifetime, essentially. You know, they broke records for attendance and gate and all these different metrics that they're just killing
Yep.
and squashing. We had one of the bigger and better feel good stories of 2025. We've seen a lot of our heroes turn into villains, and a lot of the villains never quite be understood. But Mike
Mm.
Santana was real. You got it.
Mhm.
His, you know, having his kid there, every bit of it, it didn't just pull on your heartstrings. It made you believe. What it was is you saw this man who admitted his shortcomings and his faults. He said, I was a failure
Mhm.
as a father and as a man, and I put my faith in devices, not family. I was an addict and I was a drunk, and I had all of these demons and skeletons in my closet. And I went and I made myself better. I did it for my kid, I did it for my fans, and I did it for myself.
Mhm.
And the people, you
Oh,
know,
when he won the
naturally
title,
loves
the
him.
moment at the end of that the moment at the end of Bound for Glory with him and his daughter in the ring is probably one of the best moments in wrestling this year.
Absolutely. So for them to not follow up for a month, not announce anything for the follow up show, nothing's booked, nothing's set, just heading into it blind. And they lead
Mhm.
to the jobber squad of NXT coming in, wrecking shop for reasons. And then Kaz cashes in his, you know, call your shot.
Mm.
And that was it. 3 seconds later, he's got the title. So Kazarian won the title finally in the
Mm.
flattest, most just tainted way possible because everybody loves Santana and it just lulled TNA all over it. So Kazarian has the belt, but no one wanted to see him win it that way. Santana lost the belt, which no one wanted to see happen, and especially that way. And then this is your story. And then they tried to make a work a shoot by shooting a work and having Santana be told that he's not going to attend his signings and the show the next night to play off like it's
Yeah,
real and he's
I don't like
mad.
that part of it. I don't like when we have so many situations in WWE and AEW, and I'm sure there's some in TNA as well, where people are legitimately happy or unhappy rather, legitimately walking out. The whole idea where like they tried to work shoot the whole he got pissed off at the booking at the live impact, so he walked out on. I don't like them doing that part, right?
No.
Here's where I'm gonna go. And I'm not anybody that's pissed off at the booking of Santana. and all the how he got the title and he lost it right away.
Yeah,
Anybody who's pissed off about that is valid, and I'm not going to argue with them, but I am going to put this in your mind. And I'm
please.
going to give you the worst comparison I can probably ever give you.
I am
Who
intrigued.
won who won the first ever, or now I'm questioning myself, was it the first one ever? Who was the worst winner of the women's Money in the Bank match ever?
Mm. Um.
James Ellsworth.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Do you remember that?
yeah, with Carmella and
Now here's the thing. Dumb move on their part.
very tone
Secretly
deaf.
secretly a win for WWE. And I'll tell you why. And I will tell you for why. And nobody will agree with me. Anybody listening to me right now is going to disagree, right?
Hmm.
People were legitimately pissed that that happened
Yes.
because we were in a spot where the women's wrestling could be taken seriously. We were in a spot where the women were
It's
ascending
their
and
debut ladder match for
in
Money in the
their
Bank.
debut and the whole thing. And but people were given enough hope to want something for the division. WWE
Yes.
had turned on their heels and told you, hey, the women's division is something to look forward to. So the fact that people were that outraged about it was a proof of concept of WWE has done a good job of making people care about the women's division again. And
Yes.
whoever took James Ellsworth's head off was going to do it for the women's division. And remember, they did. The ladies got together and kicked the shit out of him at one point. Then they had a redo, I think, on the following SmackDown or whatever. And the proper
Yeah,
win was
but think about it.
not
They
only
got
did
two Money
no,
in the Bank matches out of it too. You know,
they got
that's
too
a
many in the bank matches, but like
national
also
headlines.
you've made a statement for the ladies. You've proven with the audience's reaction that look, we did get people to care. Because if you had done that 10 years ago, people would have laughed. People would have been like, okay, the ladies match was the piss break anyway. James Ellsworth winning it is funny. Let's move on. But they had brought it so far forward that taking it away was terrible. Now,
Yes.
I know that's a really, really deep pull. Now compare that to Santana. We waited for so long to get people to believe in Santana. We got it to the point where fans were already complaining that he had waited too long. They had waited too long. He should have beaten Trick earlier. He should have beaten Joe earlier. And people were already frustrated. He got a little taste of it. And like you say, they took a month off, right? So take out the month off, like from show to show. Basically, he won it and then got it taken away on the next show. So it was like you did the Raw after WrestleMania thing with a gap, right?
Yeah.
They gave him a
Exactly.
taste and they tore it away. Not cool, not the best booking idea in the world, but the reaction that you saw from people out there who claim that they don't even watch TNA proves what a good job they've done with Santana.
Yes.
If they didn't care about him and they weren't behind him as much as they were, and they weren't paying attention to TNA as much as they claim that they don't, there wouldn't have been the outrage afterward. And
Certainly.
I think if they do it properly, there's a win you can get out of that.
No doubt about it. And
In a kayfabe sense, look at CM Punk goes and moves on and finally wins the world title, only to have it taken away by Seth Rollins 5 minutes later.
yes. And
So
we've seen these
is he
things
going to go lick his
before.
wounds, or is he going to be twice as hungry for the belt now? People
Exactly.
that are behind Santana, if they weren't already behind them, are gonna lick their chops, lick their wounds, and get back in the fight with him as fans. And his reaction at the next pay per view, which I believe is Final Resolution, the reaction is going to be hotter for him because what you have, and we've said this before as well, what you have in Kazarian right now is a very transitional champion. He's the Miz. He does everything that the Miz does for WWE, and I don't think either of them get the credit for it. He can be the guy that gets the belt and gets the oh my god, why the fuck did they put the belt on him reaction,
Yeah.
and then equally as much when he gets his comeuppance, when he gets his head chopped off, it will be that much better because he's such a sniveling dickhead. You never deserve to have in real life, Frankie Kazarian deserved to be TNA champion as well. This is the other side of the coin. But
Yeah.
in storyline wise, oh my God, he's the last guy that should hold the title. And when Santana comes back and destroys him for it, which I think is going to happen, if not at Final Resolution, then at Genesis for sure,
Yeah.
then cool.
Mm.
The other side of that is the idea as well that Santana's contract apparently is up at the end of December. So maybe he wanted to win the title just once before he went out the door.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then nobody's outrage is valid anymore because he walked into it with his eyes open.
Yeah, he knew. And
yeah.
See, I had an
And
original point I was going to
was
try and make, but go ahead.
Yeah. If he's leaving and they just wanted to like appease him with like, thanks for doing what you've done in TNA so far. We'll let you have the big Bound for Glory moment, which is like their version of a WrestleMania moment. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
Give him that like capping moment before he leaves the company.
Mm-hmm.
That's not too shabby either. Because
No.
like we said before when we were talking about Bound for Glory, he got to not only finally achieve the championship, but he also got to be the guy that brought the title back in tight air quotes from NXT back to TNA. So if it's what he did on the way out,
yeah,
that's not too shabby, man.
No.
Now I'm speculating on all of that. And I'm not saying that
because we don't
Frankie
know.
Kazarian
They
is
fed
James
fake
Ellsworth,
stories to the dirt sheets. I mean, what do we have to really pull away here? It's when you play up on fans' emotions and then you do these type of like underhanded bookings, where it's the problem was it wasn't heat. Like they do this a lot in WWE lately with the beatdowns and the vision and all that. And they got to be careful because it's not just
unpopular opinion though.
Mm.
Don't overdo it. And all the companies have the potential to overdo it. Every now and then you do have to piss off the fans to see how much they care about a particular thing.
Sure. Yeah. But there's ways to do it, I feel like, where it could be more.
I don't think they should have kayfabed him, Santana walking out afterwards. I think that's a bad look.
Yeah. That was not great.
I don't have a defense for that. I think he just comes in. Maybe you play it up on TV at the pay-per-view. Oh my God, we're supposed to have this this tag match for this B pay-per-view. And I'm sorry, the live episode of Impact felt more impactful, pun intended, than the pay-per-view the next night, which is not ideal.
No, wrong.
But if they had played it up all night, oh my God, we're supposed to be, tag team partners tonight, and they all interview Steve Macklin, and Steve Macklin's like, hey, I don't know where my partner is. If I have to take them on 2-on-1 because that's the kind of character that he is, I'll do it. That's basically what they did do. But they could have played that story out on screen without like doing the intentional leaks to make it like he'd actually left the company, because that's a different thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like what's the famous one where Austin Aries lost a match to like some devastating finisher, and because he was so pissed off, he just got up and walked out and said, fuck this.
Yeah.
And then they thought it was like the most brilliant thing ever. I'm like, This is like when WCW made a lot of mistakes. One of them was like, oh, Goldberg's walking out on this match because he doesn't like the booking.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that.
And
Please
then they said it to make it real. And and that's the problem. They've done this many, because what
they do is they set
times.
it up, and who's done a lot of brilliant videos on this is Simon Miller. But like, if you say, oh, this is the really, really real story, what you're telling people sort of on the side is like everything else you've seen so far is fake. And we know that it's fake, and we've been fooling you. Ha ha ha. Remember that match you cheered for a minute ago? That was all fake.
So one of my big issues is, and we brought it up briefly earlier, but this is my main point with the Santana stuff and bringing it all back into a tight little bow. One of the big issues I have is wrestling in general already plays off the fact of theme of this episode, kayfabe. You have to suspend disbelief to buy in. So what do we buy in? That it is not a scripted contest and these people are characters, but they're real, so on and so forth. So when they get injured, we're upset for them. We feel bad. And them doing the ruse on the main roster with Seth really fucked things up, I feel like. Because now every single time any injury or issue is, happens, unfortunately, fans don't know what to make of it. And their initial reaction is, oh, this is a setup. Look at everything with Sol Ruka.
Here's the thing. People point to, well, Sol Ruka, I think, just healed faster than people thought she was.
I guess they made her relinquish before they got all the scans in, and it wasn't as bad as they thought it was. But they made her relinquish first and then do the scans later.
The Seth Rollins thing would have been awesome if it was like the time they did it that year.
Yeah.
Because what's the famous one? Royal Rumble, Madison Square Garden, when John Cena made his grand return like 5 months before
Like
he
4
was
months.
supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Seth Rollins doing something like that, even as a heel, like you can still have a welcome back. Like, again, kayfabe or not, you can have a welcome back for somebody that was legitimately injured that got back before they were supposed to. Because that is a cool story. If you thought you were going to be out 6 months and you're back in 2 in your real life, that's a great story. What I think the difference is as well, and I go back to the Paul Heyman example, you can have the kayfabe opinion versus your opinion of the real person. It
Yeah.
only really works when your opinion of the real person is positive. Like people getting in and doing the Paul Heyman shtick with him because as a real person, we think he's great at what he does, and then booing him because his character is shit. It doesn't work the other way around. Like think about Super Cena for all those years when his character was like the goodest of good guys and
Yes.
the real opinion people had was bad. That's where it falls apart. You can have a blending of both opinions. People singing Seth Rollins's theme as he comes to the ring because they like him, they think he's a good showman, and then but as part of the show he's a bad guy, so now we have to flip that switch and boo the character.
Yeah.
That duality, I guess, is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Only works if the real life opinion is a good one.
Absolutely. And the thing is, if
Because
you keep trying to fake the fans,
if the real life opinion is a bad one, it doesn't matter how good the character is. People are just going to find it obnoxious.
exactly. And you don't gain anything by trying to subvert expectations in this manner, because now it just leads to the audience forever questioning it. If you give them a good
Okay,
whodunit,
but if it's not a subversion, if it's not though, like I say, the Seth Rollins was hurt. Like I do believe he went and they wrote him away to go off and like take it easy
mhm,
for a week or 2 weeks or whatever. I do think something did initially happen. I don't know how much, I don't know how bad. It's not my business. We start delving into people's health, then it becomes a whole other story, right?
yeah,
But I do think, hey, you were fucked up. You're not fucked up anymore, and you're fixed faster than we thought. I do think that that's okay.
mhm,
They have to play with it carefully. And like
mm,
I say, when you've got a happy return of a heel, then you've got a lot to do from a creative point of view.
no,
But
you're
look,
right.
let's look over the fence, right? Mercedes Moné, right? They're giving her all these belts, they're giving her all these accolades, they're giving her all these main event wins and Roddy Raw. What are you supposed to take about that? She's the best thing going. That's
Yes,
the story. In
she
real
is the
life,
ultimo.
we know Mercedes Varnado or whatever is a absolutely obnoxious stuck up cunt.
Yes,
So that's not going to blend
with the
if you're
most
going to push on
abhorrent
that.
outlook on. She looks
Ugh.
down upon people so blatantly.
She's out there for the people with forehead fetishes. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It just
But anyways,
astounds me at times, her reactions to things, and she could be so cruel. And then her
mhm.
fans like
Oh yeah.
defend it, being like, "Yeah, slay, sister. Make fun of that person
I
with
think it's
disabilities."
hysterical. I think it's hysterical that she walked away from WWE demanding that they have a union and has not ever once said anything about AEW having a union, but that could be a whole other podcast. What I wanted to do with the Santana thing is everybody's had outrage about how Santana was booked, and that's a conversation that's happened since it happened. The
Yeah.
other thing that I want to talk about though is you said the jobber team, the B team, and whatever. The
Yes,
team that came in there and fucked with him is a really interesting team.
it is. The makeup is cool.
The makeup is crazy. You've got
Yeah,
Robert Stone there as sort of like their hype man, their
de
manager that looks like
facto
he wants to throw down again.
kind of
Brooks
leader.
Jensen, who's kind of at this point, you kind of believe that he'll fall in with any group because
Hmm.
like he was in like the bar rescue fucking team
Yeah.
with Briggs and Fallon and that, and then
Hmm.
he fell in with the culling. So you believe him as somebody that's just looking for another group to be in. You believe Lexus King as a guy who's trying to plant his flag in NXT, and if I can't plant my flag there, I'll plant it anywhere. Charlie Dempsey is legit as fuck. He's been to Bloodsport. He's been to Noah. He's had great matches. He made the Heritage Cup what it was.
Yeah.
Stacks. I'm fully convinced NXT doesn't know what to do with Stacks right now because his best role was within the family, and I don't just mean that as being Tony's sidekick, but when they had tag matches, Stacks was the best hot tag in WWE for a while. High Rise, again, two other guys, great big monster like Legion of Doom type tag team that
Yeah.
suddenly don't have their leader anymore because
Mhm.
of something else I'm going to talk about in a
Dun
second.
dun
But
dun.
they're there and they've got something to prove. They're two big jacked athletic guys, and if you were doing an invasion, you'd want some enforcers. Like it's a ramshackle bunch of jobbers from Evolve, but like
But
break it down for a second. They're not. They've got this really cool story right now where Ava and Santino have reached this really sort of tentative peace between the two companies, right?
yes.
Robert Stone is supposed to be working for Ava. Now he's led this team to do another invasion. Ariana Grace is supposed to be the liaison between the two companies, but she's Santino's daughter and Stax's fiance in real life. Again, blurring those kayfabe lines. So there's a lot of interesting threads to pull
A lot of
on
parts.
this group that on the surface seems like a ragtag bunch of jobbers.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get tag team matches, and I'm sure it's going to be Stax and somebody because they're going to take advantage of the fact that Stax is a really, really energetic hot tag in a tag team situation. Lexus King, I'm sorry, is a hell of a character. And the in-ring work is sort of secondary, but his character work is great. Robert Stone. If Robert Stone goes back to TNA and Robbie E gets back in the ring again, that's fantastic. They came to Brampton and they did their pay-per-view here where Robert Stone took on Santino. It was one of the most fun matches on the card. Plus, I got to see Tessa Blanchard, but don't worry about it. Charlie Dempsey can have a great match with anybody. High Rise can steamroll anybody. Ariana Grace is stuck in the middle. Ava and Santino are stuck in the middle just after they had the invasion that became, what did it become? When it wasn't invasion anymore, it was Showdown.
Showdown, yeah.
And just when they dusted their hands and thought, okay, there was a little bit of competitive aggression there. Everybody got it out of their system. We're all good. We look forward to many more years of working together with NXT and TNA. And these upstarts are going to come in and them doing, I like this better because it's not company versus company. What this collection of people now is doing things that are going to piss off both sides. You've got Santino saying, oh my God, I thought everything was fine. I thought we had a good working relationship. You've got Ava, people don't like Ava because they don't like The Rock and they're strange like that. That's going to be saying like, guys, I just got this all back together. What the fuck are you doing? She's going to look to Robert Stone because, her admin isn't working. Like there's so many, I don't want to put the Santana thing completely on the shelf.
I know so many different words to go through.
But this is really interesting if you think about it for even a second. If you think about the collection of people that they have, Brooks Jensen, the follower, Lexus King, the guy that wants the spotlight, Charlie Dempsey, the guy that is like the simple wrestling guy, the Kurt Angle, the Chris Benoit, bad example probably. Stax, who is a character, but I don't think they know what to do with it. And I think you can only play with it so many times that him and Ariana Grace are a thing, and Ariana Grace is Santino's daughter, and Ariana Grace is also the liaison between the two companies.
Yeah. And how does that add to
Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Wrestling's Game of Thrones, yeah.
But it does, it works.
High Rise is awesome because, when somebody else left that we're going to talk about in a second, I really didn't want them to get lost in the ether, so to speak, because he left and then High Rise kind of disappeared from TV and they brought in OTM. And I don't really have anything against OTM, but did they just say, oh, we're going to replace one big team with another big team? You can have two big teams. What are we doing? You know what I mean?
No shit, I know.
Now I've tap danced around it enough. The other cool thing that kind of got lost in the wayside of the last pay-per-view, and not really surprising to anybody, but Desmond Alexander he was called Desmond Alexander on the show by the ring announcer. Desmond Xavier came back, rejoined the Rascals for the 4-on-4 match with the System after the System announced that Dirty Dango is leaving at the end of this year.
He's done too.
So he's leaving, but Wes Lee coming back and joining the Rascals. And little side note from me, you're going to check it off your Spaz Phoenix bucket list. It's fine. Destiny's 11th anniversary show is happening next February, and the headliners right now are the reunited Rascals, and I'm super excited. Also, Giselle Shaw is going to be defending the Destiny Women's title against the almighty TBD.
To be determined. But we got to be careful with that. We've been through far too many so far, of the who's the surprise going to be.
Yeah, but Destiny is usually pretty good. I hope Gigi Dolan gets a rematch, but that's
Right.
neither here nor there. But Wesley, I should say Desmond Xavier coming back, rejoining the Rascals. You know, the boys in the treehouse are back together, but apparently he's on a temporary deal, and the other guys in the Rascals, their deals are running out shortly. For the love of God, I hope they don't go to AEW.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible.
I mean,
It's
I don't think they
possible.
let
Yeah.
Wesley go to then bring in an entire faction that includes Wesley. I don't think that
Yeah.
works at all.
I don't think so either.
But it was really cool. It was like a homecoming for him and a really cool moment before we got the, you know, the NXT invaders at the end of the day there. But unfortunately, it kind of got overshadowed because it was like the bigger story.
Yeah.
But very
It's like
cool to
CM
see.
Punk returns when Orton does. You know, it's like you got a big story, but then a bigger story, you know?
You've seen the video obviously in the
Yes.
back where they're all
Yeah.
like meeting each other. You couldn't give me one night. But what I'm saying as well is you got Wesley, Desmond Xavier that came back and returned at the show, and then at the end of the night, you've got the NXT invaders that include High Rise, his old faction,
Yeah.
and it's all very, you know, ships passing in the night type of thing. And they've also they did a pretty good job of laughing it off as well, but they basically laughed off the entire storyline that they did in NXT where the MSK, the Rascals, sort of split when Wesley turned heel.
Yeah.
But High Rise was the guys that he got on his side to fight the Rascals. So it's all very, very cool and intertwined.
Yeah. No
But
kidding.
lots of interesting things. I don't think people are giving this invasion group a chance, really, which is super unfortunate. I think they're more focused on obviously how they feel about the Santana result. But I mean, Santana's going to go out there and kill everybody, and it's going to be fine. And
Yeah.
while I'm sitting here making a case for all of these guys, Santana's going to knock all their heads off like they're jobbers. Like
I
they're
mean,
going to say, okay, you got to have a handicap match against High Rise, and that's going to be funny because he's going to plow both of them.
I know you
Pause.
have other things, pause, that you want to head into, but I mean, granted, pause. I genuinely, it's not that because I like Wesley, but we've seen them in NXT have these hot moments and then not be able to capitalize on them afterwards. Ridge Holland breaking up Chase U was a really big thing because the fans loved Chase U. And now that was taken away from them, and there really wasn't much of a follow up past then. And they had Chase U back again, so it was like nothing ever happened. Things like
But
that.
here's the thing I'll say though, TNA, and this is where NXT kind of falls down. This is where WWE falls down.
Mm,
TNA can make a feel good moment last more.
yes.
Like TNA can take the feel good moment of the way they announced that match too. It's going to be the System versus Myron and Zach and Trey and a mystery opponent from the
Yeah.
West Side. Like you talk about the biggest wink and the biggest nod, but they will ride the momentum of those guys being back together because again, we go back to that, you know, if I can see that the wrestlers are having fun, then it's going to make the match better for me. You can
Yes.
tell they're glad to be back together as a full unit again. Pause. The
Indeed.
fans are glad to see them back together. Um, and I think the initial introduction of him and just the initial pop of, oh my God, the whole family's back together. I think TNA genuinely better than any other company is good at making a feel good moment like that last. And
Absolutely.
the kind of, oh, let's make a team just to break them up shit that WWE does way too much. Let's be real for a second. TNA is not nearly as afflicted by that.
Yeah.
And I think it's the first time all
You're
four of them
right.
have existed. I think it's the first time all four of them have existed as a team because when MSK went to NXT, lots of initials to talk about here.
Yeah.
All you had was Trey, and then Trey brought in Myron Reed, and then when what's his name? When Wentz got fucked
Um,
over by Me Too, and he came
yeah.
in, then it was him and Trey and Myron that were the three. I was gonna say the threesome. Not we're not doing that.
Pause.
They were the trio, and then Myron went away because he was doing other stuff, and then the tag team was Trey and Wentz, where the tag team used to be more Wentz and Wesley, and so I think you've had all these different versions of the Rascals, and I think this is somebody that listens to a lot more or watches a lot more TNA than I do will be able to correct me, but I think it's the first time they've existed as a 4-man unit. And I think it's really cool. I do think it's really cool to see, and he kind of looks like he's home. Like I really liked Wesley in NXT. I think firing him was stupid as fuck because
Yeah.
you could have had another contender rising up the ranks alongside Javon Evans, and then Javon Evans, who's now mixing things up with Leon Slater. You could have
Slater.
had you could have had three guys elevating each other, and it could have been a lot. You could have had a singles equivalent of Hardy's, Dudley's, Edge, and Christian.
Yeah.
But it is what it
I
is.
saw, you know, the Dudleys trying to do a 3D and they can't even get it to that point anymore. So,
Well,
you know, they tried, but
our favorites are getting old because we're getting old, and I don't want to go down that path because it's a dark path. You know, it's
no.
not a dark path.
What's
Pause.
that? Pause.
The John Cena that this time is now tournament that we finally have an actual graphic for, and we'll touch on that in a second as well.
No, but they do.
I-
We got brackets. Finally.
I will say the three biggest stories in here so far, or I shouldn't say the biggest stories, the most fun stories for me are all guys that have lost. The pop-up of Dolph Ziggler, the pop-up of Zack Ryder, and the Raw, because he had already been on SmackDown, but the
Yes.
Raw debut of Javon Evans.
Yeah.
Ziggler and Ryder were a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if one of them had gone on in the tournament a little bit just to spice it up, that would have been fine. But as one-offs, Ryder popping up to be part of it, Ziggler popping up to be part of it when everybody thought it was going to be Joe Hendry and possibly Mike Santana.
Yeah.
Mike Santana in this tournament would have been a lot of fun. Like it was Javon, but if it had been Mike Santana taking on Gunther, that's a match I'll watch the fuck out of.
Yeah, no
Javon
shit.
Javon Evans is going to be a main roster champion in the next 2 years.
Yeah, no doubt. He's gonna be the face of the company at some point in time. He's
Of course,
so everything. And I know a
Mhm.
few people were kind of upset, but I'm like, no, he doesn't need to go to the main roster yet. They could do the soft call up where he's on SmackDown and NXT, but his promos are
Yeah.
pretty damn decent. He's getting more confident in the words that he says, and it's resonating. He needs some catchphrases besides bouncy. He needs to get the crowd chanting with him. You know, that needs a little bit of work still. His in-ring is fantastic, and he wrestles a very fast and acrobatic style, but it's believable and it's fluid. If you notice with him, never does it feel like he's trying to make the other person catch up to him. And it doesn't feel like what tends to happen with either small guys versus big guys, David Goliath, or lucha matches, is it feels like a lot of cooperation and hand holding. He never makes it feel like it's not a fight.
The one thing I will say as well, and I think this is something that kind of goes under the radar a little bit because I don't think it's what most people are focusing on. He's got a way of keeping up his speed, keeping up his like high flying style. But if he's in there with somebody that's slower, maybe a power person or whatever the case may be, he doesn't do his stuff in such a way that makes the other guy look slow.
Yeah.
Which is a sort of a sideways way of burying somebody if you make them look like, you know, big lumbering. Like
Yeah.
the prime example of like back in the day, Rey Mysterio slowing down to work with somebody like the Big Show.
Yeah. And that was
Like I'm not saying
very
Briggs
obvious.
is Briggs is the Big Show, but like Briggs and Javon had a match a couple of weeks ago. I think it was like a qualifier for something else unrelated, but like Briggs didn't look slow just because he was slower than Javon. And I think there's a lot of credit to that because you have to sort of mold your fast stuff around what the other guy's doing. And I think it's crazy. And he takes the most like going in there against like Trick or Oba, who got even bigger and looks like he ate Oba.
Yes.
But like that thing that he did where he body pressed him and like chucked him like past the announce table. And he
Yeah.
just took it. He just took it.
Mm.
And it's fucking good. But him going in there with Walter or Gunther, I should say, Gunther with his old music back as well, so brought in a little bit of the extra old Walter aura as well. And you were like 99% sure that he wasn't going to go on
Yeah.
because he's doing all kind like he's prominent in NXT. this partnership with him and Leon Slater is going to get them a tag title on one side or the other. He's now got a cruiserweight AAA title shot against Laredo Kid at that upcoming December show that we spoke about. Like, he's kind of everywhere else. So I don't think they need to call him up yet. He's becoming like one of those everywhere guys. He's doing very much what Chelsea Green is doing, where
Yeah.
she's showing up, like she's on SmackDown with her SmackDown US Women's title, but she's also down there in AAA. I don't want to say down there, that sounds bad, but she's a
Yeah.
AAA mixed tag team champion. So she's helping AAA in that regard. Her partner is Ethan Page, who's in NXT. So it's elevating NXT. So she's kind of the everywhere person. Javon Evans, already at this quick part in his career, is already developing into one of those, hey, we can put this guy anywhere. Maybe we don't need to put him on the main roster yet. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it
Like, if he
is.
comes back to NXT, if he comes back to, like, no offense to Laredo Kid, I would love to see more Laredo Kid as well. I've seen Laredo Kid in AAA and in AEW and in TNA. So more Laredo Kid would also be great. Let me be clear about that. But like, if he gets to be the one to bring the AAA Cruiserweight Championship to NXT, that's a feather in his cap.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, Javon Evans. So
He
I don't
just
think he'll
has so
necessarily
much
be called up.
possibility, so much potential. And I hate saying, "Oh, he's the future." You know, you hear it all the time. He's legitimately the realistic future because he's young. He's got the whole
Mhm.
world in front of him and his whole life to go. So he actually is the future, but he's not just the future. He's the here and now. He's here now. One of the things that TNA did that I still kind of give them, guff over is the way that they seem to always ice their faces. Like they make them chase probably usually 4 months past where they should have won the title.
They did it with Joe. They did it with Santana.
They've done it with many, 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 many people throughout time, and every time you get that
But look at
baby
somebody like a
face,
Leon Slater. Look at somebody like a Leon Slater. They know what they've got with him. They had him have his big title win for the X Division because he's like everything that the X Division is. The entire appeal of the X Division is in Leon Slater. So they gave it to him at Bound for Glory. They had him
yeah,
get the tip of the cap from AJ Styles. They've got him heavily involved with the Javon Evans tag team, which is an interesting dynamic in and of itself. I'll tell you this right now, right? And I know the accusation is, WWE is going to just go in there and poach all the talent from TNA, even though more ex TNA talent have gone to AEW to be misused, like Josh Alexander, than have gone to WWE. But I'll tell you this right now: if WWE manages to sign Leon Slater, then you'll see Javon and Leon Slater on SmackDown next week.
yeah, no kidding. So that's
Because to
the
have them go in there with guys like Fraxium, guys like DIY, guys like the Street Profits, I'm sorry, Street Profits versus Javon Slater and Leon, sorry, Javon Evans and Leon Slater. Javon Slater's not a thing. Javon Evans and Leon Slater, that's a
yeah,
match. Or just give me a triple threat of Javon, Leon, and Montez Ford.
yeah.
But
I
right now
mean,
he's at home helping his wife with a fingering injury. I mean, what?
yeah.
Who said what now?
Ooh, it's
It's
still
fine.
stuck. It's trapped.
Maybe she
Pause.
can plug up Naomi. Anyways, what? What? What happened? Anyways, but I just think that like the tournament itself moving forward is, I don't want to say predictable. I think we know that what's his name? Gunther's gonna win the whole thing. Gunther
Yes.
versus John Cena as the last match is the one that they want to aim for. I will say, going back to our previous conversation, because I'm hopping all over the map, Gunther being the last match, but I'm gonna lean more prestigious to John Cena's last title opponent, John Cena's last pay-per-view opponent, John Cena's last opponent in a stadium is
Yeah,
Dominic Mysterio.
I know. And that's
Think
not a
about
terrible
that.
thing. Here's the
And
thing.
I'm gonna I'm
I'm
gonna throw my
excited that he
hat.
faced Dominic Spaz, but the last 4 matches is Dom, JD, Dom, and then Gunther. I mean,
Dom to Dom Dom.
Dom, da Dom, Dom, Gunther. It doesn't give you the best feeling, like because the first match with Dom was great, but it was sports entertainment great. It wasn't like it
Mhm.
was amazingly wrestled. It was Super Cena in Super Boston. Then the Judgment
Okay,
Day
I'm sorry,
six
but
man tag.
that's more I'm sorry, but it is. That's more representative of John Cena. John Cena's not a
Yeah.
5-star
No,
wrestler.
no, that was
And he'll
perfect for what it
and he'll
was.
and he'll no, but I'm saying his whole career.
Mhm.
He's not he wasn't like he came up with the Benoits and the Guerreros and all them, and
Yes.
they were having the classical technical wrestling matches.
And that
So I
wasn't him.
think like here's the thing. Gunther, great wrestler. Great
Yeah.
opponent for our last match where John Cena's really going to have to up his game to make that match into something, right? I
But
think I think a more fitting send-off for John Cena is the match that we're getting at War Games. And that's no disrespect to Gunther. I just think for the type of wrestler, for the type of star, for the type of superstar, to
yeah,
use their vernacular, for the type of superstar that John Cena is, Dominic Mysterio is a better option.
absolutely. You know how I feel about War Games, and I couldn't
War
be more
Games.
I couldn't be more excited.
War Games is WWE. We're going to talk about this next week when we do the preview,
Yes.
but I'll just say it right now, and I've said it before with War Games. War Games really is WWE's chance to throw their dick up on the table.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Just look at that main event.
And
Just look at that main event.
here's the thing, I do deeply regret that Cena's not in the War Games match. They could have made it work. They probably should have. Give it something special and then have Dom be the last match. That would have been great. He puts Dom over, but they had to do this tournament. And the tournament really just marred the last bit of John's retirement tour because now they overhype the fans.
I'll disagree with you there because I don't think John Cena needs to be the Intercontinental Champion in his last match. And I don't think you can convince me that Gunther gives a shit about the Intercontinental Championship after
Yeah.
being the world's champion.
I don't think so either. I think he should drop it to Dom, but I just wish that he faced Dom last, put him over. Dom now has the asshole gimmick of being able to say, I
retired John Cena.
I put him to bed. I made him dead. DED is done. That's
And
a
you know what the
great
funny thing
accolade.
is as well? You know what the funny thing is as well for Dom, right? And they set the seeds for it a couple of weeks ago, and they sort of left it up on the shelf. Dominic Mysterio had this really awesome match at the AAA show last night.
Yeah.
He's got this stadium title match with John Cena coming up at War Games. He's got the AAA show coming up where he's going to be one of the ones that brought the Lucha Brothers back together as opponents, which is fine.
Yeah.
And he's still in WWE's back pocket. They've still got father versus son for the AAA Mega Champion coming sometime, maybe in January. Maybe they throw a AAA title match on the Rumble card because people just tune in for the Rumble anyway.
Yes.
Like, we talk about how they're getting behind Leon Slater. We talk about how they're getting behind Javon Evans. And I'm going to make the case sometime before the end of the year, the success story of 2025 in all of wrestling, yes, I said all of wrestling, is Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah,
Dominic Mysterio.
Dom's one of the best all around. And people are like, are you ridiculous? No, because think about it. Even with Punk, like some of his booking really sucked. And Dom has not had like a miss this year yet.
Here's the thing.
I don't think they've even had any booking issues.
If Dominic Mysterio, say John Cena did his last year of in-ring competition last year.
Yes.
And we said one of his last matches was going to be Dominic Mysterio. Everybody would have laughed.
Oh, no doubt.
But now it's just a thing. I mean, in the tournament, we're left with Jey Uso, Rusev, The Miz, LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, Gunther, Solo Sikoa, and Penta.
Yeah.
It's going to be Gunther. So that's fine. But no, the last sort of real John Cena type match is going to be this thing with Dom. Yeah. And I don't even think he needed to be in the tournament, which is kind of a funny thing to say.
I don't think they needed the tournament.
Championship.
I wouldn't have even had the tournament because all it did was overhype things. It made the speculation, possibility, and what if enable people to overhype themselves into a frenzy. So now everyone, it's going to be Edge, it's Jericho. So that when Ziggler or, Ryder come out, and I get why they did it as Ziggler and Ryder, because they didn't want to damage their current run. And then also more fans know them. So it was supposed to be like they came back to show respect for Cena and to try and win. Now, should they both have lost? I don't know. Should they? I get it was a one-off. I get what they were going. I would have just announced them in the tournament and people would have been just as happy. Or, they couldn't temper expectations. They set things so high that no matter who came out, fans still we're going to be kind of miffed by it. And then to know that we got a 6-man tag that was basically a glorified house show moment. I
Yeah.
mean, Cody saw it in person at MSG, and he had a choice between that and Full Gear. I was like, well, you made the right choice, but it's just a matter of, getting done what you've got. And
Oh, come on, you don't wanna see people get stabbed with forks in person?
right, over and over and over
You're
again.
you're all in the splash zone.
No.
Um, but anyways, no, I think the time is now tournament, like, it's a great thing and a not so great thing to say that the 3 most interesting things from the tournament are the people that lost in the first round, and it's
Yeah.
Ziggler, Ryder, and Javon Evans, but Javon Evans made a hell of a showing for himself. Javon Evans isn't going anywhere. Like, if we ever get a release sheet of like, oh, WWE's released a couple of other people. I said the same thing about Wesley, but now, especially if they get rid of Javon after they've plugged him in pretty much everywhere, pause.
Yeah.
Um, it's crazy. It's
Yeah,
absolutely crazy, and he doesn't lose anything by losing. And Gunther's back as well with his old
exactly.
music, which is
So,
awesome, and DIY as well. We're
yeah.
back,
So
and they
you're
didn't come
not
out to the
wrong.
DIY.
You
Yeah,
aren't. And I agree with you. Gunther doesn't need the belt. Gunther's beyond that title. He had the world title since then, and
mm,
but I have a feeling that Cena ends up. He should drop the belt to Dom at Survivor Series and then face Gunther at
mm,
at the Saturday night's main event. I'm just
mm.
worried that here's what I'm thinking out and out before we even get to predictions, and this upcoming week and
Yeah,
whatnot. I still, for right now, the way it's set, I think that you're going to see Dom continue to fight with Judgment Day. He's going to be pissed that nobody helped him before. We had the 6-man tag, blah blah blah. And maybe Finn finally costs him and we start to move away from that. Finn's been sick of him for a while and all the shit and the Americanos. And so do we, a lot of people are saying, oh, we're going to get Liv returning. That could be a possibility too. We
mm.
said that if she doesn't return at Survivor Series, then they'll hold off to the Rumble. That's what we heard. That's what made sense.
And here's the thing, like, I don't wanna say blah, 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 Saudi, 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 but, like, you wanna hope that if her return was set for the Rumble, that she'd get a huge pop.
Yeah.
I don't know what the reaction's gonna be like over there. Why
No.
are we
So
beeping?
having her come over and be a strong source now would be pretty damn excellent. And I think it works quite well. So hopefully they can go ahead and capitalize on the momentum with Liv and Dom. They're still they've got something to offer. It's there, and getting them to that place where it is functional and they can work together, I think is
Yeah.
super important and a lot of damn fun coming up. So
They gotta find a way because Liv partnering with Dom is better in a way because the thing with him and Rhea was awesome, but it was like basically she carried him around like a pet,
yes,
whereas Liv and Dom together was more of an act.
it was
They
like the
gotta find a
baby in the
way.
backpack. Yeah,
Yeah. They gotta find a way to pull Liv and Dom away from Judgment Day, but not fully turn Dom face, because the
yeah.
character that people love is Dom's heel character. It's a sort of an Eddie Guerrero
Ask,
tangent.
yeah. Well, see, that's the thing too. Like if you look at China and Eddie when they had turned and worked together
Mm,
and all that, Eddie didn't do anything different. He was just a good guy now. If that, you know what I
yeah.
mean? So they could do that because the more he cheats, the more the
But
crowd cheers.
Eddie and
And
China was still seen as like a an on-screen couple times. It never felt like China was just dragging Eddie around,
oh no, no,
which is what the Rhea
certainly,
thing, and it was great at the beginning, don't get me wrong, because we were seeing Dominic Mysterio as this new young character. He's here because he's somebody else's kid, Roddy Ross. So obviously Rhea Ripley, who could beat the shit out of all of us and stow us safely in the overhead compartment,
yes,
like that made sense. Liv makes sense with him now.
yes,
So as an act, they're great. As an act, I don't think Liv comes back to the Judgment Day. Obviously, I think Dom breaks away from the Judgment Day, but I
yeah,
don't think you turn him face. If you turn him face, you ruin him. If you turn him
absolutely.
like squeaky Snow White babyface, you ruin him.
And you nailed it. So what they would have
Yes,
to
I
do is
think
just
so.
basically keep him as such, make him the same character, just give us more of the relationship between those two and give us more of what we like from them. And that's all you gotta
Just keep
do.
him keep him how he is, and let him be a dick to other dickheads.
Exactly. Let the heel pick on the
Like
heels.
Dominic
Now he's a
Mysterio,
face.
like I mean, it's the only example I can think of right now. Like if Dominic Mysterio and Liv showed up on SmackDown and like
Yeah.
sauntered into the MFT locker room and like spit in Solo Sikoa's face. Like he's not a good guy,
No.
but like he's the bad guy that we like.
Yes.
And like he'd also get his ass kicked.
But at
So
least it would be
he'd
something, you know, like
no, but here's the thing though, like he'd get his ass kicked, right?
yeah.
By the MFTs. He'd still be a bad guy or like a not face, not quite heel, but not face. But whoever comes out to save him from the MFTs, 5-on-1, basically, because Liv's not going to fight the MFTs because it's WWE. Whoever comes out to save him gets a babyface pop.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like if Dominic
So
Mysterio goes out there and like puts a challenge to Solo, and because Solo's so offended by the whole thing, the MFTs just come and beat the shit out of Dom and say Motor City Machine Guns come out to make the save. Motor City Machine Guns get the biggest pop that night.
oh yeah, no
And that's
doubt.
without Dom really being a babyface.
I mean, yeah, you're fucking right. Spot on
Anyways,
right there.
moving swiftly on, and
damn.
to the surprise of nobody, I'm going to talk about more NXT.
Yeah.
Well, the more general, the NXT and AAA / Evolve.
Gold Rush was a lot of fun.
Gold Rush was a lot of fun. And I think
Interesting, you know, outcomes, all of the
not
above.
not much happening other than JC getting her title back, which we all kind of speculated could have happened.
Yeah, I said she'd get it back, but just not. Yeah, I figured they were going to go one more, but damn, they had the turn happen already where she got betrayed by the culling.
Yeah. Anyways, we're not gonna do a review because it's
No.
like however many days out. What I want to throw out there is, and because week 2 is sort of the what should have been the kickoff, because I'm gonna put this out there. Gold Rush should be a pay-per-view.
Absolutely, it should all be one night. It should have been its own, own entity. And so, funny enough, I posted, as I mentioned earlier, just the highlights of what happened for the spoilers of week 2. And that got me like 20,000 reviews just on that because people were like, oh, well, this sucks. It's going to be on Thanksgiving and, Thanksgiving week. And now, if they did it all in one night, I think it would have behooved them so much better.
Here's the thing. As a concept, I think it deserves its own night. Like they did Worlds Collide. The most recent one was to sort of introduce AAA, but they did the Worlds Collide stuff before where it was like Raw versus SmackDown versus
Yeah.
NXT. And they did the Super Show, which was supposed to be Invasion, which was NXT versus TNA directly. The problem with it, and NXT used to do a lot of these. Halloween Havoc used to be one, and Deadline used to be one. They were these elevated weekly shows.
Yes.
And they were fun. They were more than the average episode of NXT. And Raw used to do more of the same thing. Like you get like the Raw Roulette nights and stuff like that. But specifically with NXT, what they're trying to do is they're trying to function as two different things. They're trying to function as this special show that you've tuned in for on the night, but then they have to throw in regular weekly show elements as well. Where they had the the Ricky Saints thing, and I'm going to cut a promo because of what happened last week because this is what we do in weekly television.
Yes.
So
the reaction to the reaction to the reaction.
Yeah, I'm saying that it deserves to be its own PLE, not only because I think the concept deserves its own PLE. We used to have bragging rights. We used to do Survivor Series Battle of the Brands and all that kind of thing.
Even
but also
because in a way,
But also because like you can treat it on a Tuesday like it's a paper. Like the first couple of takeovers were just extended weekly episodes of old NXT, but they treated it like its own event.
Yeah, because it was taped then, so they aired that live, and that's why it made it special.
But these, because they're trying to do both, and they're just randomly inserting these some weekly episode stuff, or here's a promo segment. Like next week, they're using part of the Gold Rush event to have John Cena come out and announce the competitors for the Iron Survivor at Deadline, which is awesome. And I'm looking forward to Deadline. And the Iron Survivor is one of the best new concepts they've come up with in a while.
Yeah,
but save that for a weekly episode of NXT. Oh, wait, you can't. This is a weekly episode of NXT.
Yeah, and that's the big hindrance there. So
I'm saying Gold Rush deserves to be its own pay-per-view. But in general, I'm seeing these like elevated weekly episodes sometimes do more harm than good,
Oh yeah,
and
no doubt about
don't
it.
let you take a full bite out of it. Because on the other side of the coin, with all these, oh, look at this, it's big, look at this, it's big, look at this, it's big. You don't want that when you are trying to sink your teeth into the weekly episode and into the building blocks and the stories and the building conflicts rather than the matches themselves. Like, I don't think you're not achieving either of them individually when you try to do both at once.
Yeah, and that really causes that problem.
It's
So
really a bummer, really a bummer. So I'm just throwing that out there. I do like the Gold Rush concept.
yeah,
I do like the whole, like, let's bring in TNA, let's bring in Evolve, but I mean, next week's episode is all Evolve stuff and one of the speed titles, and the only thing of note on there is the triple threat for the knockouts title.
gotcha.
So you've taken the TNA title match and thrown it in there with the Evolve episode,
Hmm.
and that's a downgrade, right? And plus, it's
Yeah.
already happened. Like, if you want to see the results, they're out there. I haven't looked for them, but
Yeah, see, that's what I posted on my channel was the week 2 results, and
yikes.
20K views later, people are like, "Well, that's a show." Sadly,
Yeah,
and the Cena
and
thing
I
didn't
mean,
happen live, so the people don't know who he picked for the tournament, so they're gonna air
okay,
that in between.
okay. And see, the funny thing about that is, like, because there's leaks, they're not gonna do anything groundbreaking on that show, and because they're not gonna do anything groundbreaking on that show, why would I tune in?
Or they save it for, like I said, pre-taped things that aren't live that basically make it so you have
Okay, but
to tune
but
in.
okay, so
Yeah,
none of
but I see your point. Yeah, there's no
none of those
immediate
groundbreaking
revenue.
things are gonna be match results.
Exactly.
None of those groundbreaking things are gonna be like, oh, turns out Santana did leave TNA and he's just attacked the new Evolve champion. Like,
Yep.
that's not gonna happen in a backstage segment. It shouldn't happen
Exactly.
either, but that's the craziest example I can think of. Joe Hendry's called out, you know,
Yeah.
what's his name?
But no, you're
Ricky Saints, yeah.
yeah, you're right on the money though.
Anyways, but it's like, it's not a bad thing. It's like I say with a lot of WWE stuff, it's not bad. It just could be better.
Yes.
And that's, you're humming at a 7. I'd like to see you at least a 9, because if we try for those 9s, we're eventually going to get a 10.
Yeah, and
And
that's where we're at this point.
I think where
So,
we're going to get the 10s is next weekend at War Games.
oh, you think, do
But
you?
I do. Well, fuck, dude, that main event. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Like, take every, like, newsworthy name / controversial name that you can think of and throw them in one match.
Yes.
Let's be real. Like, you got all the people that love all the people involved, and you got the people that hate Brock Lesnar that are gonna hate watch it. Like, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I
Speaking
mean,
of hate watching,
not wrong.
we mentioned earlier people that get talked about versus people that don't get talked about. You know who doesn't get talked about nearly enough?
Who would that be?
Steven Richards.
I agree. He is. I met him once very, very briefly. I don't even know if I ever told you that, but my buddy, my best friend growing up, John, and I were in the Meriden Mall here, and we were heading towards the FYE store, and that was downstairs from the food court. So when we came
Yeah.
up the escalator, we're walking forward, and from behind, I see somebody with a very buzz cut haircut with a WWE staff jacket on. Like it wasn't like an advertisement thing. Like on the back, it had nothing, but on the front, it had a WWE logo. And then I look
Oh
again,
yeah,
and
it's just a genuine staff jacket.
yeah, and I'm like, wait. I was like, because he just cut his hair to be in part of Rights to Censor.
Oh,
So I did a
yeah.
double take with it, and I was like, Stevie. And he turned around, and I was like, just so you know, I know you're busy at the moment. I'm a big fan. He was like, thanks so much. And he probably would have given us more time to talk, but we were like, all right, thank you, kind of thing. Voice breaks, you run away. But he was very welcoming and super cool. Answered a couple quick questions and was like, all right, I gotta go. But not ever made us feel like an imposition. So and that's something he really like shines over is giving the fans their money worth, the value, the
Oh yeah.
memory. He cares. He genuinely cares.
It's really cool to see. And you know what else I really like to see? I like to see
Mm,
people getting wound up,
yes.
because he successfully wound a lot of people up when he came on his podcast, and I've only seen the clip, but he
Yeah,
said,
but that's why I bring it up because he cares so much. He
yeah,
is very outspoken about wrestling. So
but he came out and he said Logan Paul is better than anybody in AEW.
Mm. And they went through every name. John Moxley, Swerve Strickland.
Yep.
He's like, yep, yep, yep.
Mhm.
Can you really argue against it?
I mean, there's some in there that if you actually put them in a match, like he's going to show where he's lacking, or they'll go out of their way to show where he's lacking, which you shouldn't ever do because you
No.
should be concerned about the safety of the person you're working with.
So
But like,
realistically, what would be the most that he was lacking? It would possibly be like the soak it up, letting the crowd cheer longer because he can execute every move
I
damn
think if
near
you watch,
flawless.
because you can see the stuff that he's executing, and in each thing he does individual. I'm a big fan of, like, okay, let me be clear. I'm talking about Logan Paul, the wrestler. I'm a big fan of Logan Paul. I love the fact that he's got the crowd control when he's got the microphone, the fact that he faked having notes on his hand
Yeah, I
for the
hate that
Friday
he's so
promo.
damn good. It's
Yeah,
like I want to hate
exactly.
you, but I have to respect you because not only are you trying, but you're
Yeah.
nailing these fucking,
The amount of
usually
people that are like, "Oh,
things.
see, look at him. He's got notes on his hand. You would name." Yeah, and then he pointed his hand at the camera so that you could see them. Do you not
Yes,
think that that was planned?
it was the
But
whole. He was
here's the
making a
thing. In
mockery.
in the ring, like, what's the big one they did at the Rumble? The big double springboard crossbody that him and Ricochet did back when Ricochet was
Yes.
good. Um, he does really cool things in the ring. I can still see, and I hate to sound like a critic because I'm not getting in the ring ever, but you can still see where he's in the ring with people that are like ring veterans, ring generals, whatever term you want to use, that are still helping him with the in between stuff.
Yes.
Like, you've got these three really cool things that you want to do. Here, let me show you how to tie them together. And that's because he's been wrestling in front of all of us for like 2 years,
Yeah,
3 years
and just
maybe.
getting better and better with it. So
So I'm sure there are people, like, there's people that are gonna like smoke him. Like, as far as like you put a Logan Paul match up against like a Will Ospreay match. Clearly, clearly there's gonna be a disparity there, right?
yeah,
But
which we know.
not all of wrestling is wrestling.
No, wrestling
And as
isn't wrestling. I still love that video because it's so
oh my god,
true.
the old wrestling isn't wrestling. Okay,
Yes.
here's the thing. At the end of the day, before his WWE run, during his WWE run, and after his WWE run, more people in the world know who Logan Paul is than Kenny Omega, than Will
Yeah,
Ospreay,
you're absolutely right.
Than Kyle Fletcher, than Swerve Strickland. And the guys that I'm naming are top tier wrestlers.
Yeah.
And the ironic thing is, those four names that I just named, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, Swerve Strickland, are all people that would be at the top of the list if you said, "Hey, you're a Logan Paul fan. Who would you like to see him face?"
Yeah. And you know what sucks
Logan
is
Paul,
everybody
Will
says
Ospreay.
that that Logan
Nobody
Paul
wants.
doesn't count because of course he's well known. He came from YouTube, and it's like you guys are missing the point entirely
Okay, but
here,
here's
huh?
the thing. Nobody will admit this because you have to, it's like certain other people in the public sphere. You can't point out something good that they've done, even if they've done something good. But nobody wants to admit how good a Will Ospreay Logan Paul match would be.
Yeah.
Because here's the
They
thing.
don't want to give him
Will
any credit,
Ospreay Will
and
Ospreay, or like I lean back to a Kenny Omega. Look at the big turnaround I've done on Kenny Omega in the past couple of years, right?
yeah.
Whatever Logan Paul is lacking would disappear with
Oh,
somebody like a
certainly.
Kenny Omega, because Kenny Omega would work with it. He would see it, he would spot it because he's good like that and he's got the experience. And you know what? Maybe the fact that he's got his own like health issues and whatnot and had to bring it down from like a 10 to a 9
Yeah, and tone
in
himself
his own right.
down and
Maybe that would help him help a guy like Logan Paul.
it
You don't
could.
know. But so much of this is like, oh, we want to say that he's better at this because we don't like him as a person. This is why I say when we talked at the beginning of the pod, when you've got the opinion of the character versus the opinion of the real person. If the
Yeah.
opinion of the real person is shit, then the combination of those things is never going to work. And these people are so, it's like, I'm sorry, but it's like the Brock Lesnar thing. I'm sorry. The worst thing you can say about Brock Lesnar is he might have known about something somebody else might have done.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
because of that, you want to pretend that he's not a draw. You
everything
want to
he was
pretend that he's
into
not.
was willing participant. He didn't force her, didn't do it. Like
Doesn't matter. Like, I'm not even delving into that.
no,
But
but that needs
you've
to
got
be
this idea.
said.
It of course it does. But what I'm saying
And I hate the man.
is, as far as negativity,
Yeah.
oh, oh, Vince definitely did this that we can totally prove because my source is trust me, bro. And Lesnar also knew about it. And we know about that because we've got these photoshopped images of text conversations because you definitely have Brock
The
Lesnar's phone
truth.
and the source is trust me, bro.
Yep.
But like because of that, you want to pretend that he's not one of the biggest drawing guys they've had in his prime,
Ever.
obviously.
Yeah.
He's done it all. There's not a single thing Brock Lesnar hasn't done. Everybody's still butthurt from like 5 years ago because oh my god, main event Brock Lesnar beat mid-card champion that got to hold the main title for 5 minutes, Kofi Kingston.
But he
Like
did
get
it to
over it.
everybody. He didn't, it wasn't people like, oh, it's a
Exactly.
racist thing. Or no, there was no
Oh,
discrimination.
but
There was no,
it became different when it was Kofi, and we all know why.
yes.
Let's be real for a second.
But
Oh, but he was the WWE champion. Yeah, so was Jack Swagger, and you don't like him either. What are
uh,
we doing here?
how many people has freaking, Brock gone ahead and squished? Oh my God. Orton, he made bleed. He suplex
Huh?
city John fucking Cena. And you're going to complain about
But
that
it
one.
doesn't but it doesn't matter.
I know.
But it doesn't matter until it matters, right?
Yep. Sadly.
Anyways, but no, like I just think and everybody came out. Everybody, especially, and I'm sorry to say this as the way it is, especially the people that are trying to get Tony Khan's attention.
Oh, yeah.
The people that are not making it onto Dynamite, the people that are not making it onto Collision, the people that are still stuck in ROH are all the ones that came out the most angry about this. And it's just like the people that you're defending are the same reason that you're not on TV.
Yep. Over and
What are
over
we
and over
doing?
again.
There are certain people, and I'm not just saying like maybe celebrities, maybe people in politics, maybe people in wrestling. There are certain people out there that are so like decidedly bad, and it's like I'm going to say that this person is bad, and
Yeah,
it's
they're
going to get me,
terrible.
and it's going to get me points somehow.
See, you
You
nailed
know what I
that.
mean?
That's the point of it. You're getting bonus points for talking about somebody or nailing things or
Well, you're getting
whatever it might
bonus
be.
points. You're getting bonus points
Societal.
for talking bad about WWE in general if you're
Yes.
in that on that side of the fence, and you're getting bonus points because oh my god, it's Logan Paul, and
I'm glad
we've
you brought
we've
that to
we've
light though.
we've collectively decided that Logan Paul is bad. You fit in with the collective, right? That's not a mob mentality. That's not sheep at all.
That's not what we're going for. Come on
But
now.
I just think it's so great because as you say, like the people that always get talked about, like the Cornettes and the Bischoffs and the Meltzers and all these type of people that are in the conversation constantly, all all Steven Richards had to do was say,
An
"Hey,
opinion.
hey, I think this guy's good."
Yep.
And that
Literally.
brought him to the top of everybody's headline. It was the top of like what culture was
It
bitching
was
about it
trending
because
everywhere. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but of course, like Murray and Sidgwick were bitching about it. It was at the top of No DQ. It was the top of Wrestle Zone, and it's just like you guys are more dedicated to hating this guy because you think you have to than most people are dedicated to the wrestlers that they like.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
really sad.
That's pathetically
That's
sad.
really sad. Like we will sit here and slate Mercedes Moné all the time. We've already done it in this pod. But
Pause.
I'm not fair. But I don't think you or I is going to go to somebody that's at the AEW show that does like her and point a finger in their chest and say, "No, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Think the way I think." If you think it's awesome that she's squashing everybody, if you think it's awesome that she's got
3 million belts.
14 belts now, then cool. If you went to the it's the most bare bones basic thing of wrestling. If you paid your money to go to a specific show because your person was going to be there, you went to the show, you saw that
Yeah.
person and you had a good time, you win.
Exactly. More
At
power
that
to
point,
you.
why does it matter what I think?
You nailed it. Like, what's the reason? What's the genesis? What's the point? Why do people have to go ahead and fight
So I just
going
think
forward now?
as you say, like somebody like Steven Richards, who I've never really heard anything bad about, who probably has a lot to contribute to the industry. The only time his name makes the headlines is, "Oh my God, how dare you say something good about Logan Paul that's fact,
Yeah,
and how dare you say anything bad about AEW ever?" It's it's bad, man. It's the old newspaper thing. It's the
it's
old newspaper
baffling.
thing of if it
Yeah.
it's the old newspaper thing of if it bleeds, it leads.
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's why, you know,
You
AEW
nailed.
gets all
I
the
haven't heard that
headlines.
one. I haven't heard that saying in a long time, but that's so true. I mean, it really is like so damn
But
true with
also, the other thing
AEW.
is too, right? Like, you can say whatever you want about Logan Paul. You can think he's a shitty person. I've heard things about what he's done in his YouTube
Yeah.
career or whatever, and I'm
Which
like,
he
oh,
was
that's
just
pretty shit,
found
whatever.
innocent. They cleared him of any wrongdoing with the crypto zoo scam right as he got
Oh,
married.
I wasn't even
So,
talking about that. I was talking about like
oh,
the Suicide Forest and all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like
No, I'm just saying like
abhorrent
that's the most
stuff. Like if
recent one.
bring this to me, and like I hate to go back to this again, but Benoit's the prime example. Benoit, how his life ended was horrendous at
Yes.
his own hand, and who he took with him, horrendous. Nobody's going to say otherwise. But you're doing that story and you're doing yourself a disservice if you take that, like how his life ended, and try to translate it into he was never a good wrestler.
Yeah.
Like
You're
you're just
being
lying.
very disingenuous and you're being an idiot at that
It's
point.
very it's a popular lie to say that Logan Paul sucks at wrestling, right? And the
Yes.
unfortunate thing is a popular lie will make its way around the world 25 times before the truth has its shoes on.
Yes. That's
And that's
another
unfortunate.
damn good quote. You're all full of them today, huh?
Uh, it helps when we're not doing this at like 10 o'clock at night. Pause.
Right.
Let's get on to something lighter because we've already
Yes,
talked
sir.
about war games a bunch, and some people out there that want to be out there with the hot take that's not a hot take are saying that they're sick of war games and they're sick of Survivor Series. Now, I will give you the response that I always give you. You can't say you're sick of Survivor Series until you tell me what Survivor Series is. Survivor Series used to be 4-on-4 matches. Then
Mm-hmm.
it was captain 5-on-5 matches, and then it was a tournament
Yeah.
once or twice. We had the Deadly Games, which had the best wrestling theme ever because it's a deadly game. And then we had Battle of the Brands, where it sort of took over where bragging rights left off, and then it eventually became War Games when Triple H took over. So it's been the most adaptable pay-per-view on the calendar. Like there's never been a Royal Rumble that didn't have a Royal Rumble match on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
people want the Survivor Series match back, like the traditional 5-on-5 elimination match back. And we got it in NXT with the TNA showdown. We had two Survivor Series style matches. And now on Friday,
Dun
on
dun.
I guess you could say the pre-show to Survivor Series, they're doing it as a piss take because they've even got the old school Survivor Series
Yeah.
graphics and everything.
Like
It's
really,
a I think it's a piss take to everybody that's been complaining about it so much. We'll
possibly.
do we'll do sure we'll do a Survivor Series match on the kickoff, where the kickoff is just the Friday before now. I mean, it's the MFTs versus Sami Zayn's super team of Ray Phoenix, Shinsuke Nakamura, and the Motor City Machine Guns, continuing that whole joke we had from the last podcast where Ray Phoenix and Penta are a really great tag team. Let's tag team them up with everybody else but each other.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you had the Andrade thing that was a thing for 5 seconds, and then, what happened to Andrade?
Where did he go?
Maybe contract tampering from TK is not the greatest thing in the world.
Hmm.
But I think, okay, never mind who the teams are. Like the MFTs are hilarious at this point. Like you can take them seriously in the match because they're a bunch of big dudes and they're all like sort of like, I don't know what you want to say, like disciples of Solo Sikoa at this point. But also you've got the super baby face team of Nakamura, Ray Phoenix, Sami Zayn, Motor City Machine Guns. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm more focused on the fact that just it's cool that they've brought the concept back and they've actually incorporated it into Survivor Series weekend. But
Yeah.
I don't want that to take away from War Games because I do think
No.
War Games is awesome when it's done properly. By the way, AEW, who's trying to make people sick of cage matches before War Games. Oh, it just happened to fall there on the calendar. Suck my dick.
Yeah, my ass. Bull.
I don't know.
You know the way
I don't
they
know.
handle it, but
Like I don't even know if you have anything to say about it or not, but I just think it's cool that they're doing it and they've put together
yeah.
a decent story of it's kind of built around the Intercontinental Championship without being for the Intercontinental Championship because a lot of it was just the MFTs getting involved in Sammy Open challenges and beating people up afterwards.
Yeah.
And obviously they want to get the tag titles back, so Motor City Machine Guns are in the mix. But after Andrade, went and fucked with his contract, and TK
Pulled an
fucked with
Andrade.
Andrade's contract. But But we say he pulled an Andrade, but it has to equally fall on TK. You can't plead ignorance on that. That's
No,
bad
but that's what
practices.
I'm saying. He should have had his lawyer look over that with a fine tooth comb before just taking
I'm
somebody's
sure. I'm
word
sure. I'm
for
sure
it.
he's got lawyers. I'm sure he's got lots of lawyers.
Well, we know he
Because
does.
I mean, TK has ties to Saudi Arabia as well. They just don't do pay-per-views over there.
No.
Moving swiftly on, but I think the idea was a couple of weeks after Andrade left and fucked around and found out, they tag teamed Ray Phoenix with Nakamura, and I'm like, oh, what? And they're like, why would you do that? I'm like, why would you not do that?
Yeah.
That's kind of
Hello.
fun. Like nobody says they're going to be the next Road Warriors. I've already given that to Tyson and Tyreek Igwe. If you've been paying attention to the podcast so far, we've been rambling for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, put them in there. You always have to have. This is something I'll say about Survivor Series. Either it has to be one complete faction like the MFTs, or it has to be a team completely comprised of like a thrown together team. Because I
Yeah.
think when they did, even for War Games, when it's like, oh, it's Judgment Day plus Drew McIntyre, it's a bit awkward. But
Yeah.
in
You're
that
like,
thrown together
plus.
team, to have one tag team in that mix works because they're going to bring the team element to those other individuals in the group,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Like it is an actual tag match, whereas the War Games match itself is just everybody fighting everybody. But like Survivor Series tag matches are theoretically tag matches.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer that if they're going to do this on the SmackDown leading into Survivor Series, they didn't throw one together for the ladies as well. Maybe they do one on the spot on the night where there's like a promo train and they throw the same women that are going to be in War Games into a Survivor Series match as well.
It would be something, you know?
The other thing that I noticed, and this would drive people crazy because they don't like long pay-per-views. We all know that the War Games is like enter in like one participant at a time.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was also elimination, like a Survivor Series match.
Oh,
So
dear
like
God.
people enter the cage one at a time and they get eliminated one at a time. I would love to see them try it, but only do it once.
Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting, like an Ultimate Gauntlet / Royal Rumble match. At least it'd be something creative. I feel like that's kind of the issue lately is that here's the thing. So they started Full Gear last night with the same thing they did with the pay-per-view before. Was that WrestlePalooza or
Yeah,
All Out?
apparently that's a strategy now.
So they had the pre-show match still going on in the ring. So they do the introduction, the theme song, all that. They have the pyro go off, and then you resume in progress with the match that's already happening. So when that happened last time, I guess the match they had started late, and rather than have him just go home, Tony told the ref keep going. Supposedly, this is what I read on Twitter, and they were like, "All right," and then he started the
I hope
show.
somebody told them the pyro was going to go off.
Right. So he starts the show and they get into it. And it was a really cool thing to see. Like, oh, this match isn't done, but we're heading right into the pay-per-view. Here we go, top of the hour. But to do it again, it's like, oh, that's not, it didn't happen organically. It's not a natural, logical next step. You guys are just doing it to do it. And when you do it to do it, you're basically starting to jump the shark with it already. You're making it feel, it invalidates. Yeah, it invalidates everything that you tried to do before with something new and something spontaneous. Because now it's formulaic and it's a given because you guys have literally just scripted it to happen. So
Well,
you remove that spontaneity.
I'll tell you what I've read everywhere this morning. I think AEW I'll tell you what I've read, and then I'll tell you my opinion of it is AEW have tried to fix a problem and they've made it worse.
Yes.
So what they have, and they've had it ever since what was it, All Out? I was there. I should remember. I don't remember most of that show other than Beth Phoenix showing up.
Funny how that works. When everything feels the same, it all blends together, you know?
Or when I just don't care, it doesn't register.
Well, that too.
And if I'm there in the building and I don't care, you've done something because I'll watch pretty much anything in person.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
They've done this thing the past couple of times where they're counter programming themselves. They've got the kickoff happening on Prime or wherever you're watching it, and then they have the what they call the tailgate party.
Yes,
that's happening on TNT,
which is very weird because, like you said, they segment their audience in a bizarre way that often leads to people missing the pre-show because they're not sure. Like, part of me, I knew there was a difference, and I still had the wrong stream picked. you know,
Mhm.
and I'm the one that's covering this shit.
Well, here's the
Semi.
thing, like, and I say once again, I'm gonna say it till I'm blue in the face. Please go check out our guys over at the Wrestling for Life Network who do
Yes.
the best watch-alongs in the business. And you got Nick and KJ there that turn on the pay-per-view, and there's a match already happening, and both of them did the whole like, "Oh my god, am I even in the right stream? Did I fast forward ahead or behind or
Yeah, because you don't
whatever?"
know
Like,
for sure.
if you don't know where you are, then it's bad, right? Here's the thing: the kickoff itself doesn't have anything on it. The kickoff is like the video packages and like Jeff Jarrett and Renee Young doing their best to try and be Wade Barrett and Big E and Michael Cole and those people, right?
Yeah.
But not only is it nothing because it's just interviews and video packages, but the actual like the I guess they're calling it the tailgate now, the matches are on TNT, and those matches are happening right behind those people that are speaking, and they
Yeah.
have to pretend like there's not a match happening behind
And they have to like fight for volume, it feels like at time, and because the
them. Mhm.
arena's loud, and yeah, it's
Yep.
very
But here's the other thing as well,
confusing.
right? Because they want, I guess, for the TV purposes, like they don't do a collision on a SmackDown on a night where there's a pay-per-view, but they still have to fill the collision spot
Yeah.
as per
So,
their like TV rights deal and whatever. So they want people to tune out of the kickoff and tune into the tailgate instead so they get the TV rating, right?
mhm.
So first of all, why are you doing the kickoff then? Like treat it like they used to do with Sunday Night Heat
Yeah, make it
would be a
make
better
sense, please.
would be a better idea. Like you're still switching from one to the other, but at least it would make a bit of sense. Now, their idea is that people are going to tune into the main pay-per-view, join a match in progress, figure they missed the beginning of that match, and that's going to make people turn around and say, "Oh, I better check out the tailgate party next time," so
Yep.
that they can try to get some ratings back on their TV. I'm like, first of all, if you have to trick people into watching your show, it's
Yeah.
not a good show.
No.
Second of all, if you want the ratings on the tailgate party, then just don't do a kickoff.
Exactly, and hold off on that part, and, I it just like you said, it's all baffling and backwards and confusing.
Because I'm sorry, you're starting from a losing perspective if you think you have to trick people into watching the show.
Yes.
Because I'm wondering, like, we're not necessarily in the back in the DVD Blu-ray era anymore, but if you went and got Full Gear 2025 on Blu-ray, would the DVD start halfway through a match?
Certainly not, you know, and it's
Because
like,
that's what the purchase pay-per-view looks like.
yep.
Because if you're watching it, if you I don't know how you watch it, I watch it on Prime,
I was watching
but,
on
like
Prime through my totally legal stream that got it.
very nice.
Yeah.
But, like, if you watch it on Prime, it's just one like, you don't tune into the pre-show and then tune into the pay-per-view separately.
Yeah,
You
it
tune into the
just
pre-show or do you tune into the pay-per-view and the
yeah.
pay-per-view starts at the beginning of the pre-show, so you just go straight through. But it was like talking and video packages and talking and video packages and talking and video packages, and now we join this match in progress.
Yeah, so why have
What
any
are we
of
doing?
that? Just show the match.
What are we doing? It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I don't care because I don't care. Also, they're doing like the MLL trios title thing, which is fine. Like they're trying to keep up with WWE with the AAA thing. It's fine. I get it. But like you don't make that title look any good if you A, if the tailgate is supposed to be like your version of Collision, then your show ended without the finish to the main event.
Yeah, like, what did you guys that's how
And
you had it planned?
if you're trying to tell me that it's a pay-per-view worthy match, why didn't you slide the entire match onto the pay-per-view?
Yep,
Neither way works. Or
exactly,
if
it's
you take
all
that match,
illogical.
that trios match, here's the thing, like, here's where you gotta say AAA or not AAA, AEW has to realize what they do have. The first official match on the card was Pac and Darby, and
Yes.
they've got something with Darby. Darby, I'm
The fans
saying,
like
is
him.
Darby is their Javon Evans. He's not the same kind of wrestler, but he fills that role of you can pretty much put him anywhere and he's going to get the crowd up off their feet, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, if you were deciding that that trios CMLL whatever title match was worthy of being on the pay-per-view, kick off the pay-per-view properly with an opening like a real like professional pay-per-view would.
Yeah.
Do your Darby Pac match to get everything up off their feet. And then after that, follow up with a Lucha Trios match. That's not a bad flow.
No.
But you came in halfway through and you've got the first 10 minutes of the pay-per-view is everybody's confused and oh cool, we got half a match. And then you try to get them back up for the match that would have started them on a good note if they had put it where it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
Does
if
that
they
make
had
sense?
actually, it makes sense. I mean, it doesn't, but what you're saying makes sense. Their choice
Yeah.
in how they ran things doesn't. So,
Yeah. Let me just say, just do things that make sense because cents eventually make dollars. Hey, look at me with all the cliches.
look at that.
Look at me with all the cliches. Now, I
Exactly.
promised you before we came online, before we started recording today, that
Yes.
this last segment of the pay-per-view or of the podcast rather, nobody's paying for this. Um, it's fine, don't worry about it.
We'll charge him.
The last segment of this podcast is going to be 2 questions for Jake because he's American.
Ah, love it. USA.
Number 1, number 1, is Triple H running for president?
You know, so many people joke about it, but he feels like I think The Rock is actually going to end up running for president.
Oh my god, if the next election is Dwayne Johnson and Paul Levesque.
I can
Because
honestly see The Rock becoming on the Democrat ticket, going for
oh yeah.
a win.
Oh yeah, and it'd be like him and Oprah, and it'd be
Yep,
strange.
something like that. Absolutely.
Maybe get Big Mike in the cabinet somewhere there. Uh, but no, like as we said before with the Logan Pauls and the Brock Lesnar's, what's the easiest thing in the world? We want people to think you're a bad person, so we'll associate you with Trump. And I'm not going to land too much on the Trump thing. I'm just trying to make a point here.
Yeah, you're just saying in the
When they want to
interim.
shit on when they want to shit in WWE, they go all the way back to WrestleMania 4 and 5 being at Trump Plaza. They go back to Trump being in the match with Vince, like the hair versus hair with Umaga and
Yeah,
Bobby
where's the
Lashley.
recent
And then
stuff though? That's the point too.
yeah, but where's the recent thing? Well, they picked the thread of Linda McMahon being what on his like educate. I don't know all the ins and outs of this, so you're gonna have to help me with this. But like she's
Yeah.
on like the educational
Yes,
council or whatever the
basically she
case may be.
oversees educational handlings, and you know Kennedy
Now,
there
mind
has
you,
our health in best mind, and yeah, we're okay.
yeah, now mind you, she did her best to fully divorce herself from anything WWE related far before she got into the political realm, but don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Yeah,
And now, Vince and Trump have had their working relationship for a long time. Trump has his accusations. He won anyway. Suck it. Vince has his accusations and he won anyway. Suck it.
suck it.
But now there's this whole thing where Triple H did the big Triple H water spit on the front lawn of the White House because he was on their he's been
Yeah,
added to their health and fitness
sector thing. Yeah,
yeah, but the big push, the big push forward for health and fitness and who's the other guy? Robert
Robert Kennedy there.
the
Yeah,
guy that talks funny.
yeah,
So he's like, okay, but you
Kennedy.
got Triple H. But you got Triple H, who was like a bodybuilder before he was even a wrestler. He was a wrestler until his heart wouldn't let him be a wrestler anymore. So he's
Yeah,
done a whole lot of physical stuff. He's done a lot of training. I'm sure there's nutrition somewhere in the mix. And he's also been
somewhere.
on the downside of it, like where look where my health went. Like it's gone, it's taken a downturn, and like here's stuff that I want to tell other people to look out for. Here's the stuff that I did that was good for me, that worked out well for me, and whatever. Here's the stuff that's gone bad for me. Like
Yeah,
he can speak from a health and fitness point of view, like from both sides, like from the positive and negative thing. And it's weird. It's like, and I think it was Trump, but he put the group of people together during COVID that were like, basically, let's get all these entertainment people together to let people know that when COVID is over, you're gonna have something to go and
yeah. You're gonna be able
do.
to go
Like you got
and
like
get back to the
Dana White
arenas
and
and
but it was like Dana White and Vince McMahon and a bunch of people in Hollywood and a bunch of people in other sports, like the head of the NFL, the head of the NBA, all these people. And like Trump got a lot of shit for like, oh my God, like there's bigger things to worry about than your next basketball game. And it's like, yes, but you need to tell a population that's feeling pretty fucking helpless right now that
yeah,
there's something to look forward to. And Vince had his name thrown in with that as well. Well, it's a good thing, but it's Vince and it's Trump and it's all these people that we don't like, so we're not going to admit that it's a good thing.
yeah.
Very much like the Logan Paul situation. Excuse me. But there's been all this rigmarole about, oh my God, I can't believe Triple H wasn't at Raw this week. I can't believe he missed the SmackDown taping and da 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 da. Whereas when Vince ran the company, Oh,
Yeah, that
thank God.
wasn't the case.
Everybody got to breathe, and Vince like took a night off, and everybody was so much more happier when he wasn't there. But Triple H is, and the whole idea that, oh, if you're a wrestling fan, you must be a Republican. And I'm like, I don't get that, like, Y to Z either. Because I mean, look at the AEW fans, and there's some of the biggest woke idiots out there.
Yep.
But it's like there's this thing of like, oh, he's spending all this time at the White House. He must be wanting to run for president. I'm like, he's been put on a committee to help everybody with health and safety. And I think
They
now that
just
I'm
don't
thinking about
grasp
it,
that.
it's specifically focused on youth as well.
Yes.
So let's get your kids healthy.
Yeah,
No,
that's a bad thing.
he must be running for president.
Yep.
What are we doing? I mean,
I
it
don't
would be
know.
funny as hell. Like we've seen Schwarzenegger in positions. We've seen Glenn Jacobs in positions. We've seen Jesse the Body in positions. We've heard rumors every year for about the past 10 years. The Rock is going to run for president, but like Triple H, he's going to sit in the Oval Office. He's going to be the president.
It's the game. Yeah.
Oh
Like,
my God. What the best part of all that is picturing Shawn Michaels as his VP.
yo, absolutely. You know, we're like, hey, we got this down to a science. Let's see what goes on here. Break it down.
I want to see the day where Shawn Michaels walks out on Dynamite and says, the contract has been signed and it does say H, but it doesn't say Triple.
It says
It says
Hickenbottom.
HB. It says HBK.
It
They
says
buy
Hickenbottom,
AEW
damn
and
it.
they buy AEW and they do the invasion all over again, except they do it properly this time.
Yeah,
We've
now they
got
go ahead and really
I don't know,
take a toll.
bring back Undertaker for one match against Darby Allin in 2030. What are we doing?
Hey,
AEW is not
they'll
going to
make their
last that
money.
long.
So they
But I think
want
the
that money,
presidential thing
honey.
is funny. I think the presidential thing is funny. It's 99% not happening, and that 1% where it does happen is funny as hell.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, at least we
Oh
got
my
some
God.
things to look
The
forward
Rock,
to.
the Rock and Triple H at the debate. Because here's the thing. I'm sorry. I'm up here in Canada. I'm not really touched by the American like
Politics, yeah.
No, but the campaigning.
Yes.
But I mean, I started watching in 2016. Gee, I wonder why. This is going to be a shit show. I'm going to watch.
Yeah, you knew then.
But I always said, like, when they do the debates and whatnot, like they're being asked questions by like what's the word? The moderator,
Yeah.
or the team of moderators or the hosts or whatever you want to call it. The debates would be hella more. I just said hella, but they would be more interesting and they'd be more like cut to the point faster if
Hell
it
yeah.
was guy one asks guy two a question and then guy two asks guy one a question and make it a direct thing rather than both of them talking to a third party.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I'm up here in Canada where we can't decide how many parties we have, and right now we're being run by Carney. But
you're close, but not that close.
Moving swiftly on. It's just the two of them cutting promos on each other in the White House would be hysterical.
Yeah.
It would be a like what universe are we living in right now thing, but also like yes, he wants children to be healthy. Clearly, he wants to be president. Like,
Yes.
what? And here's the thing: if he is running for president, I would like to think that the president would like our kids to be healthy.
Right? You would think so.
Stop drinking all the sodas on Snap.
I mean, this isn't all
Anyways.
No Child Left Behind, but we get to a point where it's like you should be thinking of, you know, like I hate being like, oh, won't somebody please think of the children? Like that's not it. But when they are children focused,
I just think you need somebody to come out there and talk to the other side, like the Avengers talking to Thanos, and say,
Yeah.
"Look, no more Snap.
Hey,
I'm an asshole. It's fine." Now, I'm still Canadian. You're still American.
yes.
So here comes round two.
Okay.
What's more American than the Super Bowl?
Ooh. I really don't know. That's kind of like one of our biggest non-holiday
No,
holidays.
that's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. That's my
Okay.
point. Rhetorical question, right?
Gotcha.
But Super Bowl's huge. Like we have our sports up here. We just almost won the World Series and then we didn't. So it's fine. Don't worry about it. But people that don't even watch football watch the Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
Why are the people that don't watch football? What are they watching the Super Bowl for?
The commercials, maybe?
No, I'm talking about that thing right in the middle.
Oh, the halftime show. Yes.
Okay. So how's Spaz going to turn this into a wrestling conversation?
We'll see. That is your superpower.
It is. Now, not that I want to make any notice of all this. We're still in the rear view mirror of the unfortunate assassination of Charlie Kirk and the turnaround of Turning Point USA and all those types of things, right?
Yeah.
So people are weird. They're now trying to bully his wife. It's weird. Don't worry about it. I'm going to tie this into the Super Bowl. It's fine. But the announcement of the Super Bowl halftime show performer
Yes.
is always a thing in high contention, right?
Yes.
I think that's every year that they announce somebody's going to be there, you're going to get somebody else to say, oh, it should have been this guy. It's kind of like when they announced the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Why did you choose them when this one's more deserving? Blah, blah, blah.
Why didn't you can't really call it a Hall of Fame until Owen Hart goes in. Well, Owen Hart's wife isn't allowing that to happen. So sorry about your luck.
All these little parameters.
So, how I turn this into a wrestling thing is they announced this year it's going to be Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny has had matches in the WWE. Bad Bunny has a cage match, for lack of a better term, like a cage match listing.
Yes.
For lack of a better term. And he's done really well. He's done the Logan Paul, Pat McAfee thing of raising the bar of a celebrity having a wrestling match in the WWE. He's going to go perform at the Super Bowl. People got mad about it. And then immediately got
totally rational, right?
And then, then the people that don't like it, or the people that just said, "Oh, that's cool. I would have rather seen Metallica because that's my kind of music," immediately got called racist because, of course, they did.
Of course,
he didn't do himself any favors. How I like Bad Bunny as a wrestler, as a musician. His music isn't my kind of music, and that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Right?
It's for other people that do enjoy it. Yeah.
But this is the thing: nobody can deny Bad Bunny's success. He's like the most streamed artist in the world. He's performed at like every conceivable venue there is. The response he got when he had his match in Puerto Rico was fantastic.
Oh my god, I still go back and watch that entrance because it's just such
you can't hear the music practically.
Yeah, it's such a cool moment.
But here's my thing though, right? Nobody can take away from him the fact that he's been chosen to perform at the Super Bowl, and that's a tremendous achievement. It's a tremendous appointment, so to speak, right? I'm happy for the guy. You can't deny, like I say, you can't deny his success. Like, he's the best-selling guy out there ever. He came out on, you're gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong on this one. I think it was on Saturday Night Live to announce it, and basically headed it off with, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm doing the Super Bowl. You all have 4 months to learn Spanish."
Yeah, because if you don't learn Spanish, it's and then those comments were a little.
But and here's the thing, and I don't think what he said there was problematic.
No,
necessarily. I do think there's a way to deliver sort of a tongue-in-cheek message like that without coming off like a dickhead.
Absolutely.
I don't think he did anything wrong. I do think he came off a bit like a dickhead. So that
he really did there. Didn't do himself any favors.
That then is going to stir up other people
especially when people are looking for any reason to complain and have a fight.
Oh, of course.
Emanate from these things already. Like it feels very short-sighted and not well thought out on his end.
It does. And like I say, I don't think he did anything necessarily wrong. I don't think what he said is super offensive. He just came off a bit like a dick. But it brought out the people on the other side that are going to say, blah, 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 blah.
They're already ready to scrutinize.
Because if any other, like if Linkin Park, because Linkin Park is more well-known overseas than they are in North America. It's amazing.
Go figure.
They're really popular in Japan. As far as I know, and really popular in like Australia and places like that.
Korea, they are fucking massive in
Korea. Okay, so imagine Linkin Park goes to do a tour in Korea, and their press release is like, "Well, we're coming to Korea for 5 nights, and it's gonna be December, January, February, something like that. So you guys have about 3 months to learn English."
Yep.
So,
all right.
Okay.
People say, "Oh, it's just a joke," but it wasn't really. Like, it might have been tongue in cheek, but it wasn't presented as such.
But it is okay. We get into the real world stuff. Like, it's one of those things that's only allowed to be a joke one way as well.
Yes.
But here we go. So we've got Bad Bunny. I don't care, and it became. Do you remember when they did the whole Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney thing?
Yes.
And it was like,
it wasn't even really a fucking campaign. People just went nuts for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you drink Bud Light? And I would say no. Oh, is it because you're phobic? It's like, no, because I don't drink beer.
Yeah. You
must be phobic because you're mad about Dylan Mulvaney. You mad, bro? I'm like, no, I don't drink beer. Beer tastes like piss. I like my Smirnoff. Get out of my face.
Yeah.
The thing here is where somebody's saying now, and I got into conversations with a couple people the day it was announced. It's like, "Are you going to watch the Super Bowl?" Nope. Well, why? You racist? I'm like, no, it's because I
Nope.
don't give a shit about football. Well, are you going to
Yeah.
watch the halftime show? No. Well,
Nope.
you must be racist. I was like, no, it's because Bad Bunny, awesome wrestler. Put him on my wrestling card where it's a show that I actually give a shit about. I'll
Yeah.
watch him wrestle. He's very good.
Exactly.
His type of music isn't my type of music. Oh well, blah 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 blah. Right. So now, where the Charlie Kirk thing comes in, where the Turning Point USA thing, they're now doing their alternative halftime show. I think they're calling it like the All American show or something like
Are
that.
they really?
There's all there's oh yeah, like
Huh.
they're doing like completely different city, completely different venue. They're just putting on their own concert
Yeah.
basically.
Huh.
And obviously like they're a right leaning group, so it's going to be more right leaning people, which is fine.
Yeah.
Right to assemble and all these types of things.
Yeah. And
But
surprisingly, I'm
like
not sure how I feel about that, but yeah.
but I mean, it's just like anybody that's running a concert is going to know that in another city, in another province, in another state, somebody else is probably also playing a concert,
Yes.
right? It's just the group that's putting it on because people are still like being strange and celebrating an assassination, which is very odd. Targeting the widow, which is also very, very odd. And it's that group that's putting it on, and they've got rumored like I don't know, Florida Georgia Line and
Oh
Kid
wow. Yeah.
Rock
So
and
big acts.
Eminem, and all these people that are, they're just the dumb rednecks, like type of thing, right?
Yeah.
But,
But
but here's where we tie it back into wrestling. One of the headliners is Jelly Roll.
ah, there we go. That's how
So
we get it
let's go,
back.
right?
Yeah.
So now we've got this big stupid fight between these two Super Bowl halftime shows that are happening, as I say, completely different cities, completely different venues, not having any effect on each other whatsoever, other than one side being upset that people might choose to watch the other one. And the headliners are Bad Bunny and Jelly Roll. Now it's like, oh, you're just trying to
Yeah.
counter program them because that's the darn racism and whatever. And it's like, no, not really. He's still going to be at the Super Bowl. His concert is still going to be a bigger concert because look at the rabid crowd that he's got captive in the building there.
Yeah.
It's just here's another thing that's happening.
But people can't accept that. Like you said, it has to be
It has to
completely
be
one or
like
the
if
other,
I'm
no
doing
in
something nobody
between.
else if I'm doing something nobody else in the world can do anything, and it's like,
Yep.
oh, are you going to watch this show? And I'm like, probably. Oh, so you're one of them? No, they've got artists there that I like.
Yeah. But they don't look at it that
Pull the
way.
stick out of your ass. I'm happy. Okay, here's the thing. Because I'm a wrestling fan and I'm a fan fan of Jelly Roll too, but a
Yeah.
fan of Bad Bunny, the wrestler. I am happy that guy has the amazing opportunity that he has, even
Yeah.
though his music is not my cup of tea and I don't necessarily need to tune in for it. He's got a Super Bowl crowd that's going to see him perform, and
Absolutely. That's massive.
they're performing at some small arena somewhere else, and I'm going to see Jelly. I like Jelly Roll. I like Kid Rock, and you're not supposed to like Kid Rock anymore, and blah blah blah. I don't care. Um, I think what's her name? The Instagram person, Nicole Arbor,
Oh
I think is
yeah.
going to be there, which is insane
Can't
because she's
stand
well
her.
known in the States, but she's
Yeah.
actually Canadian.
Yes.
But it's
Go
just like,
figure.
oh, well, you chose this, so that must mean you're this. And it brings me right back to what we said before about the Brock thing. People don't like Brock
Yeah.
because he beat Kofi. And it's like, oh, well, you were cheering for Brock. You must mean this. I'm like, no. Kofi Kingston is an insanely talented mid-card wrestler, and he got beat by a main event wrestler.
Yep. I
Jelly
mean, should
Roll
it have happened that
and
way?
Kid Rock,
No. But
Jelly Roll and Kid Rock and Turning Point and Erica Kirk and all those people are putting on their own concert that isn't even quote unquote beating Bad Bunny. It's just
it's
it's
just
providing
another.
an option. It's they're the option. They're the challenger brand. They're the AEW of Super Bowl-ness. And it's not going to affect. Okay, do we think in a million years it's going to affect the Super Bowl?
No.
No.
Obviously
Do you think
not.
in a million years it's going to affect the fact that I was going to say Jelly Roll again, but Bad Bunny getting to perform at the Super Bowl is still going to be amazing for him and his fans and anybody that's there to see that spectacle?
Yes,
Absolutely not.
absolutely. You know that people are
Well,
going to enjoy
it's
it.
not going to affect. It's not
Oh,
going to
not
affect it.
yeah, not going to affect. Yeah, It's going to
people
be,
that
where
are
it
going to
helps both
go,
people. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
people that are going to get to the other show. And the only reason I can tie it together is because one's headlined by Bad Bunny, one's headlined by Jelly Roll. LOL, everything is wrestling,
Yeah.
right? But it's, two things can exist. Literally last night we had Full Gear and AAA. AAA Aliancia,
Yeah,
I think his
however you
name
want
was.
to.
I'm really trying with these names. I
We're
really am.
looking.
But it's like nobody said anything about AEW's counter programming AAA. Nobody said anything about, not positively enough. Nobody
Yeah,
said anything about AAA's counter programming AEW. There's
not
just
a single.
two shows that existed. One was clearly bigger than the other one. One was a little bit more enjoyable in my personal opinion.
Yeah,
And they were happening in different buildings in different countries, but things are allowed to happen at the same time. Now, these two concerts are going to happen in different buildings, in different cities that happen to be at the same time. The only reason one's getting shit on is because politically it's expedient to do so.
yeah,
And it wouldn't be on my radar at all if it wasn't Jelly Roll and Bad Bunny and LOL, everything is wrestling.
yes, exactly.
Anyways, I think this is one of the longest podcasts we've done in a while. As you can
Yeah,
clearly hear, I'm losing my voice a little bit. Jake, tell them what's going on your side. Tell them where to find you.
yeah, we'll be live all week. So we've got, a bunch of content for the Thanksgiving American side of things. We have our special turkey themed Raw review tomorrow. On Tuesday, which I haven't even brought to your attention yet. We're doing a community thing. So anybody that wants to join in Tuesday, 8 p.m., since NXT is taped, we're going to be talking about Survivor Series War Games and having our massive community prediction special so people can join in on that. It'll be a great time. Wednesday, we've got Into Somewhere Weekly. And then on Thanksgiving in the afternoon, I'll be live myself hanging out with you lovely people because I'm not celebrating till Friday. So Turkey Day, I'm going to be talking to Liz about her experience at AEW Dynamite. It's going to be a blast. You can find me on Twitter, on Rumble, and on Instagram at Countdown Ended. And then youtube.com/Jake DeMarco. Make sure you're subbed to the Wrestling for Life guys. Check out everything that they do with the watch-alongs. They're incredible. And as always, hit that like button.
That's a lot. And you're doing way
Yeah.
more than I am. So everybody go show Jake some love. As far as myself, you guys know where to find me or you wouldn't be here. I've been Spaz. This has been Jake. This has been a long ass extended edition of the State of Wrestling. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, me and Super Sexy Jake are hanging out. Bye guys.